Thank you very much. Then a special round of applause for ourselves. Yes, for coming at this time, for leaving our personal activities to be here. I'm sure that the host appreciates, and I would also like to appreciate you. Please keep your eyes on the screen. We have a short video montage that we would like to usher in the event and also make you know majorly what today is about. So please watch the screen. Thank you very much.
Director General to the Institute of Museums and
It's important to understand what we're building. The best of photography conference has gone from why to when. The 20th of March at the Muson Center here in Lagos. The door opens at 9 a.m. It's going to be exciting. And technology has played a very, very important role, which is why the conversations this year are going to be big on discussing technology, especially the most disruptive one that has come to fore in the last few years, and that's artificial intelligence, how we're able to use it. And more importantly, as the theme of this year goes, culture exchange, the art of business. How do we sell our culture? How do we turn our culture to an export product? And it's exciting while we look forward to the people that will be on the panel this year. These are people who, one way or the other, have led various industries themselves, and we just can't wait to be at the conference this year. We can't wait to listen to the conversation, to experience, various forms of integration, how technology connects with photography, how finance connects, how government and policies. I can't wait to see you there this year, 20th of March at the Muson Center here in Lagos. The door opens at 9 a.m. It's going to be exciting.
Give him a round of applause. Thank you very much. Definitely, it has been quite a journey. And please, if you were here last edition, let me just say a wave. The last edition. Also, we have more people coming here for the first time. Please, let's give ourselves a round of applause. Thank you so much. Before we go ahead, I just want to give a shout out to the partners, the sponsors, the media partners. Yeah, your hands may hurt a little, but I promise to stop very soon. As I call their names, please just give them a round of applause. Shout out to Red Edit as a media partner. Thank you so much. Shout out to TEPS, also a partner for the event. We're also acknowledging Fab Lifestyle, I believe. A round of applause for them. Also, YD Company as a partner. A round of applause for them. To usher us into the main proceedings of the day, please welcome with me on stage the founder, BOP. As he would always say, a key staff of Insignia Media. He says he's on salary. No other but our host for today, Mr. Kola Oshalusi, as he gives his opening remark. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please, let's keep clapping till he comes on stage. He deserves it.
Everyone, unfortunately, they didn't prepare the speech. I thought they would always prepare me a speech like they should always do. When you think you're a big man and people prepare speech for you. And then I suddenly realized they didn't prepare a speech for me, and they told me to go on and speak from my heart. So I'll be speaking from my heart. First, I want to say thank you to everybody who has made it here this morning. Thank you to our partners to be coming on stage. Thank you to everyone who has made this happen. Without each of these people, this would not happen. And thank you to the industry that has given us this opportunity, the photography industry, the visual creative industry that has given us opportunity to be here. So quickly, without taking much of our time, I just want to say one or two things as my opening remark to help build a thriving, profitable industry. And it sounds somehow when you say thriving, even in Nigeria it's existed for over things we realized that made us, much as people are very creative, and trust me, Nigerians are creative, and we are all testaments to that. We realized that not a lot of them where the biggest challenge the industry had is we had people with talent, but who do not know how to convert talent to wealth. And we decided to start this with the vision to say, the opportunity is there, the product is there, let's create a business ecosystem for us to be able to fifth edition. And it's been better every single year. The conversations have been amazing. People that have come on the panel have been superb. Touch points. The panelists that have volunteered, trust me, they are people that hold their own anywhere in the world. People pay to listen to them. And amazingly, they've come to discuss without being paid to discuss, but because they've all got passion as well, ideas. To go back with those ideas and be better. Nigeria has products it has not explored yet. Nigeria is the most blessed. I'm not saying one of. Beyond that, its power lies in its creativity. I'm yet to see a Nigerian anywhere in the world, irrespective of how bad it is where they're coming from, that have not tried when they go out. Creative industry. The creative industry in Nigeria has the potential to employ everybody that does not have a job, if only it's explored. And that's what we're going to be talking about this morning. And we don't want this conversation to end here, but want the conversation to keep going on. So while you listen, while you learn, while you connect, after this conversation here today, please go back and continue the conversation. There's power in our culture, which is a theme for the year.
That's just the best way to usher us into this. That's just the best way to usher us into this amazing, exciting event. Next up, we will be watching a short video. That was that was our opening remark. We're going to start with a keynote video from no other but Obi Asika. Are we ready for the video? Please, can we have that on stage?
Hi, good morning. My name is Obi Asika, Director General, National Council of Arts and Culture. And I'm really happy to be joining you from my office in Abuja. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there physically, but I did promise Kola that I would try to send a video recorded message. The business of photography is a really important conference, especially for anybody in the creative industries, marketing, communication, advertising, and all the public communication situations that government, agencies, and institutions find themselves in. Photography is an absolutely critical part of communication and of everything that everybody does. And if you really check the growth of social media over the last decade or so, you see the platforms like Instagram and Facebook have been driven massively by photography and visual direction. Now in Nigeria, we're working to see more platforms grow to create more opportunities and commercial opportunities for photographers. The National Council of Arts and Culture is open to partnership with Nigerian photographers, agencies, and platforms who are seeking to push and promote Nigerian cultural identity, visual locations. As you know, we have a stunning vista of locations and places all over this country in every state of Nigeria that are still like hidden treasures. So those of you who are in photography, those of you who have phones, these days you don't just need to have a camera. When we were growing up, you had to have a camera, a lot of expensive equipment. Today, literally with your smartphone, you can take incredible images and make commercial sense out of them. So I would commend the business of photography for bringing this sort of platform together. It's a pity I can't be there today, but I'm looking forward to partnering with Kola and many other photographers in the industry. Kelechi and Bayo Omoboriowo, you know yourselves. There's some top quality talent in Nigeria, from high fashion to location to film sets to production to advertising. We know we have the talent, we know the power, and we need visual imagery to promote our. Have a great conference, have great conversations, and I'm sure I'm going to hear much more about the business of photography. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
A round of applause. That was our first keynote speech by Mr. Obi Asika, who is the Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture. We appreciate your input for this campaign. Thank you very much, sir. Next up, we will be having our second keynote speaker. Officially, we have begun, and to keep the pace, let's welcome someone whose captivating lens has immortalized countless artistry and vision. No other but Mr. Bayo Omoboriowo for his enlightening and captivating session. Thank you. Please, let's keep clapping till he comes. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everybody. I'm just going to take a few seconds to scan the room and know my elders that are in the room and pay honor to whom honor is due. Uncle Dayo, Dayo, good morning, sir. Good morning, everybody. You won't understand that Idobale. Uncle Kola Shalusi. Good morning, sir. I went to Mr. Dayo Dayo's house, and that's going to be the beginning of my so-called keynotes. I came this morning to give you some keys, so it's a keynote. And when visiting his house, he doesn't know this story, so he's hearing it for the first time. Before he came out of his room, I was flipping through, I was scanning his sitting room, and that then began to germinate. And as I walked through 8 years with the president, it wasn't about being a political person. It was about the seed being watered while in government. And that seed was about the future of our country, which is how do creatives move from creativity to creative enterprise. And if there's one person in this room today that embodies that creative enterprise and the business of creativity, I want you to give a big round of applause to Mr. Dayo Adedayo. In 2011, I was a typical wait and get photographer. Yes, wait and get. I'm proud to say I'm wait and get because I was waiting and getting. I left Port Harcourt, squatted in a luxurious bus to go to Kaduna to go and do wait and get. And then sometimes when I come, I will not get. Because the people at the conference, MB, I went to document. Immediately I was coming back, some of them have finished the session and they've left. So I will hold the 5x7 and go around looking at the picture and looking for the faces. And a lot of times I went back to Port Harcourt with loads of 5x7s that never turned into money. So I waited, and sometimes I did not get anything. But this morning, I remember Mr. Kola Shalusi, which is insignia. Until today, he's still doing it. Consistency, that's number one. And then I will run to Muson. We come to Muson, we go to Eco Hotels, and I was shooting for him. But then I did not understand. I was just shooting. But number one, it was empowering me. We'll take red carpet pictures, we'll just keep hustling together. But he has consistently remained the same, building enterprise from this picture game. But good morning, everybody. Because I did not come to talk as a photographer today. And I did not come to talk to photographers this morning. I came to talk to creative businessmen. Because the future of Nigeria needs, and we've done very well as photographers. We've done very well as photographers. Mr. Dayo, you remember in 2013, 14, there is no amazing image that comes out of Nigeria that they don't have to bring white people to come and photograph in Nigeria. You know, you are working, there are photographers working for Reuters, AFP. 2012, 2013, there was nothing like that. They have to ship in photographers to Nigeria. But today they are shipping out photographers from Nigeria. I think we all deserve a big round of applause. So this morning, Mr. Kola has given me permission. If it is by, can I see the presentation? So I have presentation, if it is by presentation. But this morning, in my usual nature, I don't always follow presentations. Because I think I came to communicate the spirit of the conversation. And what I came to do this morning is to make us see what is possible. They say we are giants of Africa. This morning I came to wake up the sleeping giants. And I am doing that as someone who has been through it, who has seen it. I might not have seen everything, but I think I was blessed by an accelerated. And at this point, I tell people jokingly these days that I'm no longer a photographer, but they don't want to accept. They say it's not possible. But I think my life and the privilege of doing a degree in arts and cultural management in the UK changed my mindset about my approach to this craft called photography. Right now, I'm on the journey of building an army of people who believe that the income they did not teach me that believe that the income and the numbers written on these screens are not just mere mathematics, but naira, dollars, pounds that can actually trickle down into our pockets. The creative industry generates annual revenues of over $2 trillion. Nigeria alone can generate up to 2.7 million. The number of comments and likes that we get on Instagram, we are not ready for industry. Because the real business is how do we translate this craft into products into industries. And that is the revolution Africa needs. A lot of us have sat down at the point where we enjoy the craft. You would rather spend 20 hours of your day editing, which you should have actually corrected while shooting. And then you spend 1 hour thinking through. I wish 1 hour thinking through. I wish I was. Guys, I'm not saying possibilities on paper. Mr. Adedayo. Again, I'm so happy that he's right in front of me. If I ask us, what is creative industries? A lot of us might not even have the details of what the creative industry is actually about. If I ask you, what is creative enterprise? You might not necessarily have paid attention to it. And this is what I want you to leave this room with today. That you go back, what is this industry about? Do you know that photography is just a layer of the craft for those of you that are photographers? Do you know that photography is just a layer of the craft for those of you that are photographers? Under photography, you can turn photography into an artwork that can sell as high as $100,000 a frame. We have not explored it, sir. Less than 1% of photographers in Nigeria are doing the arts. So the art of photography is one thing that can position you globally. And it's time for us. I'm tired of seeing photographers who just snap. It's time to create. Into your mind, you sit down, you research, you analyze. You get into dark rooms and you're processing. All of us were handed over digital camera and we just started snapping. We never spent time to create. And one of the first process of creating is to develop artworks that can go to MoMA, go anywhere in the world and sell as high as millions of dollars. That is how we can get to that number and contribute to that number. No, see, I'm here to tell you that it's enough. It's time to stop getting excited about running to people's wedding, to start taking pictures and start running up and down like we have no direction. If you're a wedding photographer, build an industry out of it. If you're a portrait photographer, build, and I just invite Ida Moline, came from Addis Ababa. How many people know Ida Moline? She is, you see, now, only about 3 people know Ida Moline in the room. She's one of the most successful photographers that emerged from Africa. She's in Lagos right now. And again, I'm not marketing. She will be at Mad House tomorrow, on Friday for an open conversation. And why did we bring her? She will carry models, sit down and paint them, and then wear beautiful fabric on them. And she goes everywhere in the world selling those images. You've been seeing model. We just rub them oil and we snap them. Who won't buy? Sorry. That's why photography seems like it's not selling. Because we've not moved it beyond just snapping into something. And I've gone around the world. Again, I am a cultural and creative industry enabler. I studied it as a degree. Thanks to people like Mr. Adedayo, he will always say, go back to school. Go back to school. Bros, nobody say you pick them for road, though. Go back to school. Go back to school. Sell your iPhone. Sell everything you can sell. Go back to school. When I was going back to school, I looked at myself. I said, for 8 years, I'm working with government. I cannot even earn an extra degree. They said, Bayo, in government, nobody takes leave. Oh. They don't take leave in government. I said, leave. No. Government cannot hold me down. I have a future. And I'm still relevant today, my brother. I'm going to still be relevant tomorrow by the grace of God. But go back to school, educate your mind. Educate your mind. Number 2, publishing. Publishing is another layer in the business of photography and creativity that we've not unraveled in Nigeria. And because they always say, I'm always very careful of numbers, but we've been inspired to trade in numbers. And I'm grateful to God, and I'm very grateful to God that we are using this creativity to turn it into something that the world can celebrate. I was having conversations. We are going to do numbers. And I want you to talk to the person next to you. It's time for numbers. Comments. In fact, they don't know your page. It means you are doing what everybody did. We did everything. There was nothing I could not snap. We were at the hotel. We were everywhere just taking Whiskey album launch. I was there. I was the one that covered album launch. But it got to a point where I knew there was more to me. There was more. And I said, you know what? I'm going to focus on where it's going to go. Oh, I remember when I was saying I was leaving wedding photography, people were like, it's not possible. Wedding. Jide Alakija, everybody they were doing weddings, traveling around the world. Wedding was the in thing. Don't leave wedding. It's not possible. Don't leave wedding. How can you make it? And for those that are Christians, for me, there's a spirit in man. When the spirit tells you, go, go. I went to OK Japan, 2012 or 13.
We will stand on existing protocol. I am here as the representative of Israel of it. It is for this reason I am thrilled to be here today to discuss the ever and the opportunities and challenges that come with it. Photography is more than just an important aspect. Constantly learning and improving your craft will set you apart from the competition. To embrace the challenges and opportunities that come with being a photographer in today's world. The world needs an image only the photographers can shoot. I thank you for inviting me.
Some other sponsors and partners that I did not mention previously, just like we did it before. Please, I know clapping will never be enough. Yeah, but let's just give them a round of applause as I call their names. Shout out to Mary STEM for also being a major part of today's event. Shout out to Africa. We're learning. At the same time, we have some practical sessions in form of visuals. Please, let's give our host a round of applause. Ice portraits, and this will be in form of the videos.
Hi, my name is Janet. How I shoot my portraits in 5 minutes with one light. Thank you for watching.
I think that much. Give that video a round of applause and also give Janet a round of applause. Banging photos when we had the break. If you did, please do not forget to post and use the. Thank you very much. Next up, and pushing us into the proceedings of today, users to create, share. Welcome on stage, Mrs. Bola Inkalbebe, as you also have a video that introduces
our languages and culture. Join me on Speakity, where we can connect, explore, and thrive through immersive engagement with our languages, cultures, and ethnic identities. Our language isn't just a means of communication. It is our identity, a vessel for knowledge transfer, a tool for shaping the future, and a tribute to heritage. Join the train today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good morning again. I'm going to try to make this as interactive as possible. You just and sounding intelligent was sort of insulting them. But is that they are not literate? They are not literate. And we're quick to quote that number, you know, when we're talking about our population. But are we really engaging all of our workforce? Because we've cut out a lot of our population. just because they are not literate. Story I was trying to tell in the video. We traveled to South Africa for the first time with our... There is this thing about South Africans. They only speak English, straight English to foreigners. When they are talking to one another, they are speaking their language. It's not a social network. What we're doing is we're building a community of people who believe in Africa, who believe in Nigeria, and believe that their superpower lies within our culture. So if you can scan the barcode,
to scan, this will stay on screen for like about 30 seconds. Please scan and also, learn more about this. Thank you again, Mrs. Bola, Yinka Obebe. We are ready for the main business of the day. Are we excited? Are we excited? Because it looks like I'm the most excited person in the room today. Anyways, we're going to go straight into the main business of the day, where we will delve into thought-provoking discussions and also gain insights from our... And it is my pleasure to introduce our first panel, themed Exporting Brand Nigeria, a CV learn from you. Okay, it's coming shortly. Not the list. The beautiful Yagaze Egware, the founder on today's topic. Is she here as well? Okay, please. As you strut forward to lead this panel as a moderator, in which we have 10 minutes out of it to answer questions. My humble guests, please note that we can only...
Thank you very much, Omotunde. Good morning, here. My name is Isabella Adediji. Me about this panel opportunity. Start by saying a big thank you to Mr. Kola Oshalusi. Please, can we just give him a warm round of applause? Year in, year out. I met him many years ago. We've traveled across Nigeria. I was right. I've encountered the different personalities here, some through your work. I really take this as, I don't take this for granted. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. And I just want to pick...
It's not about being politically correct now. It's just because I've been to over 40 countries and I've traveled the length and breadth of Nigeria, all the 774 local governments in Nigeria. Gladly tell you what Nigeria is all about. So when you hear brand Nigeria, the first thing that comes to your mind is 419, drugs. Nigerians are loud. Those three things we can elaborate on it from January to Christmas. But to me, and that is where the creative sector comes in. If you look at months, there is a new kid on the block, Nif Agbemi, who does now a mother, a witch. And at a point, people will start running away from you abroad, which happens in Dubai, because Nigerians in Dubai started doing all sort of crappy things, and they said, oh, Nigeria, don't come back.
Is us knowing who, in understanding why Nigeria is a brand and why everyone understanding and knowing who we
things. And I also happen to be a photographer, but that is not common knowledge right now. I actually did work as one, made money, fed my family by one. I'm sure Uncle Dai will be shocked that I'm saying that. And it's interesting that I'm a media executive. I did that. So when you say I should lean to business, it's easy for me to do that. We need to take the PR of Nigeria seriously. How things work the way it should. So I can tell you from an art point of view, I took photographs, did some billboards, photographed a lot of big... And in that course, why did I think that it wouldn't take me where I'm going to Nigerian? Say, Charlie, Ghanaians, or the guys in East Africa, they say, yeah, this guy is a Nigerian. Do you know why they say we're 419 people? It's because we always look to embrace who we really are. And we're just going to be bigger than anybody else in the world.
Thank you. I just love the honesty and almost the brutality of this conversation, because if you're going to change, you need to know where the issues are. And I don't know about you, but if you grew up in Nigeria watching a lot of these American movies, there's always that sense that New York City is that place to go to. Their police, the city is like the city of dreams. And I think it's because we've seen it in pictures, we've seen it in movies, we've seen it in the media that we almost believe it. Well, I did go to New York and I saw the taxis and I was like, well, it looks so yellow and black, and I didn't see anything so gang about their police, but it just shows that power. Because as I turned the pages, I saw another Nigeria that I didn't see on the media. I saw a Nigeria that the mountains we've not even tapped into. What does enjoying brand Maldives? They're not thinking, what do we need to do to start enjoying
negativity?
Absolutely.
Right? If you have a friend who always complains, it's bad for him. Nigeria is a land of milk. Easy and very simple. Unfortunately, Bayo has left. When you're talking of numbers, the book that just one image, and one image you can sell at 100,000 naira, and 1 million people can buy that image.
Yes, sir.
So there is nothing consignment. We have to play our role, and this is the only profession in the country that has been here for over 100 years without association. Okada business started how many years ago?
4 years ago.
They have an association. Ourselves, very music is now all over the world. So what is left in Nigeria are those beautiful places that are done. Building the first of its kind gallery in Africa.
Yes, sir.
Where you can tour from Abia to Zamfara with camera, lens, trying to say longer, oh, this picture is good, it's nice. I want to put
the lessons that we can take from the more successful, so your music and
builders. I don't know if some of us got that. And I just wanted to address, beyond complimenting, we saw that we valued, there was a message that we were trying to create when it came to women and the work women are doing. And we came together and say, you know what? We believe in the same thing. We want to empower more women. Do that through photographs. I do that through my outfits. How can people? So I love shooting portraits and I shoot portraits, but beyond shooting portraits, I see my work more than that. I see myself as being responsible for helping.
I thought this hall was bigger than this, right? So audacity, intent. If you want to see the big hotel, you build it. You want to see the gallery, by the way, well done, sir. I've been to the building and I've seen what it's going to look like. If you want to build that, you've got to build that. If you want to make cars, there is no way, even when I was doing photography, each time I see Kelechi Amadi's work and some other people, I say, when am I going to know how to do this? The point is that there are a lot to build where we have a very crab mentality, of look at something small, build on that thing, eat it, then it finishes, then we look around and say, who is the next president? Let's mess him up. Let's call him names. So you want something, look at somebody that has done before. No, I can't remember anybody has done it. So the point is, you have to do that. And I can't elaborate too much about that, because that intention, there are things I want to build in Nigeria right now. And Bayo, well done for the thing at Yaba. You want to put content, you have some content strategy. Pops civic responsibility and as well a business.
I think that's a call to everyone, that the question is, what can I do in brand Nigeria in our everyday living, whether it's the food we eat, what we say on X, how we interact, the times we choose. There are so many ways, and I want us to internalize that question, that how can we every day promote brand Nigeria? She said we only have two questions.
Yes, we're only able to accommodate to direct the question to. So we have just 7 minutes, and the time starts now. If you have any questions, okay, I see there's this, the guy with the glasses across to.
Here today, I'm Joseph by name, and I'm very happy to be here with in the same room with my mentor. Yeah, my question now is, Wait, now.
Please, let's keep the question brief because we still have the second question.
Sorry.
We have less than 5 minutes
So
to
sorry.
answer
My
them.
question now is, the art we are talking about, what they were talking about in photography, is somehow too wide to say, okay, art in photography. So what are the content of this particular art? That's my question. So sorry I couldn't.
Who is the question posed to, Uncle Dayo?
Well, I will actually, since it is the doyen of photography that is there, Mr.
Brief to the gentleman on my right. Your name, what you do, the question, go straight into it, and who the question is for.
Thank you. I am Ola, sell Nigeria in a positive light. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll start with the first question, and I think as a closing answer for all our partners.
Making similar things across. I'm saying. So the opportunities are there for you guys to put money into your pocket. Forget about being a photographer. Now you have to think big.
I will just summarize what I learned, and I hope you took notes as well. At the end of the day, Nigeria has a lot of creative beauty to show. And for us to build the brand Nigeria, it starts with you and I. It starts with being intentional about being a solution, having be positive, be prepared, and most importantly, be audacious. We are moving on to the second session, but before then, I would like to remind, please don't forget 2024, hashtag BOP 2024, and also please be kind enough to tag the handle at BOP Networks. Also, a major shout out to one of the partners for this. Next up, we have one of our shortly to come up now. As we have the representative from Meristem, let's give. And please open an account with Meristem. Thank you.
I'm very happy here. The team is also happy to be here. I work with Meristem, and we're a very small company. It's supposed to grow along with you. But one thing I want to leave behind this morning is that the first investment that you would ever make should be in yourself as a creative. That's the first investment, the skill. And from there, that skill then becomes a resource to income and to drive revenue. And from there, you can then go on to investing. And investing is supposed to be sustainable. As creatives also, you cannot work forever. And unlike fantastic, but I have something. The chances that you have one is very unlikely. So which means that whatever it is that you are doing today, you have to put something aside and live a life.
Founder of Winton 45 Limited. Please a round of applause as she comes on stage. Okay. Please let's be reminded that we have 45 minutes for this session and we'll be taking questions afterwards.
Good afternoon. It's officially afternoon now. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Tolagbe Martins. I will be facilitating a conversation, and it's an interesting conversation coming after we've just said that we don't need government. We'll be talking about the role of the government and what we call structured financing in driving the creative industry. And I have with me people who know a lot about this industry, and I'll introduce them, or I think I'll let them introduce themselves as I ask the first question. And it will be somewhat reinforcing some of what our keynote speakers spoke about, which is that the creative industry is so multifaceted and contains so many layers and actually is open to interpretation. And we want to hear from people who know about the business of it, the money of it, and they'll be talking to us about it. So we're going to get started. I think because Mr. Adeyemi spoke last, I think I'm going to make him speak. He just got off stage, so it'll be a good idea. He's already warmed his vocal cords. So we'll start with Why? So you're going to do two things for me. You're going to tell us again who you are and why, the business of photography experience is relevant to you, but also what it is about the creative industry that means government should be intervening in the first place. And as a finance professional, just speaking to that, what's the strategic importance?
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you once again. My name is Adeni Adebisi. I work with Merstem Nigeria. We are a financial, group of companies focused on finance for individuals and institutions. So to your question, I think I'll focus straight to your question. Much like every industry, I think photography can be as big, industry that we have today. One of the key things that drives an industry is finance. Growth is driven a lot by finance, whether personal finance or finance from other sources. And when you say you need government assistance, the question is where and how. So I assume that this is industry, and that's why I'm mentioning government. When people mention government, people think free finance. But, I don't agree with that. Government would only put their money where they can see results. And how government measure results is not necessarily how we measure results from, say, a professional perspective. Government will measure results in terms of, if I empower you as an industry, can you be a source of, say, foreign exchange for the country? If I empower you as an industry, can I reduce the number of unemployment? Those are the kind of indices that government would consider. So as an industry, we have to also decide, that what do we want if we are approaching government? Whether you're going to the executive arm or the legislature, wherever you're going to, their plan. And I believe that the way the industry is growing, I wasn't saying we, but unfortunately for me, I can't even take a picture with my phone. But the way the industry is growing, it's very aggressive. And it shows from an point of view that there's a great potential in there. The real key question is that, are we enhancing it enough?
Thank you so much. Erezi, you're wearing the government hat today. Well, whether you like it or not. When we talk about structured financing backed by government will, you are the best person to tell us why the creative industry should be a focus.
Thank you very much. And it's also good to see everybody here. My name is Erezi, just like you said, and I would want to talk about, the role that we play as a bank and also the role of government, just like she has said, in the creative industry business space. Now, I'll start by giving you like a backstory to all of this. It was really huge. As at that time, you didn't have as much investors as you have. An interest in the industry, and it moved, really quickly, to the point that we are seeing it today. Now we don't have to, do as much as we used to do then, because, a lot of private finance has come into it. You can see what's going on in Asaba and also in other parts of the country. But none of this was happening until somebody looked into the industry and put in money. Many of the cinemas, almost all the cinemas you see around, we financed. Most of the studios you see in Nigeria today, we actually financed. And so also, we bought a lot of equipment also, cameras and the rest of them for industry, players. As in regards to what we are doing today, now, we are a bank, and when you give money to people, you should be able to also get it back. Finance is seen from the same perspective by all financiers. Nobody wants their money to get lost. So what we did was that we created a Noli fund, which gave money also to those that were creating content at the time. And we ran the program for a while. That fund is no longer available. However, a lot of lessons were learnt, and then it helped us to tweak our operation. We've been around for about 65 years, and for us as a government organization to still be here and still be this relevant, it tells you that there's something that we are doing right, And so we looked at the industry and we said that, okay, now that we have done this test run, let us now, begin to Because we did a ring fencing arrangement as a form of de-risking in the first one, but now we took out the ring fencing arrangement because it limited the actors and the players that the producers and every other person could use. So we removed that and we said that, okay, instead of, now you have to, try to secure these facilities that you want to collect, with your collateral or with a bank guarantee. And that is the model that we currently operate, and it gives everybody the right to play in the way that we want. While we do maybe a form of monitoring around it, we allow you use, the actors and the players that, you would want to. And when I say actors, I mean from your studios to whatever, that you're going to use in terms of even the distribution network. As it is today, that has been running very well, but we also saw that a lot of industry players could not meet our risk acceptance criteria. Because most of these people are individuals and some of them are coming in for the very first time, they do not have the collateral to be able to back up the facilities that they require, And I'm going to skip and, and move forward to the program that the federal government of Nigeria, AFDB, and a couple of other financial organizations have put together, to look at, how you could finance players in the creative and digital industry business space, which is called the IDICE, Investment in the Digital Space. That is the program that the federal government has put in place right now, that it has practically been finalized. They are just tweaking one or two other parts of the program before it comes out to the open, and then you'll be able to access it. It's a $617 million investment fund that is going to be put in the creative and digital business space for people to be able to access. Out of this fund, about $149 million of this fund is grants, and about $100 million is going to be for loans, and then $353 million will be equity. This practically takes care of access to finance, which is a major challenge in the creative and digital business space. Because people are unable to meet the risk acceptance criteria of banks, they're unable to access funds. But with this fund, at your level, you'll be able to come to the bank and say that, see, this is what I want to do, this is what I fund it. Either from the grant part of it, from the equity. Now, this program is not just to fund your operations. You're also looking at capacity building. Because the truth is, how good you are at what business side of it. And if you go to a banker to talk about business good, he might not be able to key into it because you have not, put certain things in place. For instance, look at structure. Sometimes the structure is not in place. Companies come to us, like, I'll give you an example. So what we have been able to do is that we have come up with a program that will be able to build these people to the level.
Thank you very much, Orezi. There was a lot. I think what's interesting is that as I moved, because he's the lead at Studio 24, which has become probably the face of the former Wait and Get. So you want a passport photograph, you want to capture a moment, you need to update your headshot, and you can to hear from you because you put the business in the business of photography. So please tell us what kind of support you.
What support we didn't have? Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, if I go down that road, it might take us the whole day.
2 minutes.
In 2 minutes. Access to, and it was a different world completely. But what I want to speak more to, which will be more relevant to people here, is what's the state of the global industry. I'll speak to the local and the global of the when I say, I don't talk about factories, I say industries. They've not developed in any way whatsoever. For example, today, if you go around the whole country, almost all of the hospitals in Nigeria are owned by doctors. There's a huge opportunity there for doctors in hospitals. Now, there was a photograph, and it was controlled by 5 major global players. The 5 players were Kodak, were Fuji, were Konica. That gives birth to what I'm going to tell you about our local industry today. The local industry today, We have a lot of great folks. Every single person is an army of supposed to be about investors coming into the industry. And those investors don't only have to be non-photographers. You guys here could be those investors. Photographers. Most photographers that are being trained in Nigeria today are not being trained to get them. They're being trained to go on their own and shoot on their own and fight on their own. We need to create an industry where people who want to come in can learn under a great person, hone their skills, and get a job. Be able to have that opportunity to get a job if they want to get a job. If they want to fly on their own forever, it's perfect. But the opportunities to create employment are humongous. And I sit here before my team. I talk to my team every day. We have 40 outlets and counting. And we can't even we haven't scratched the surface. And no, we look around us and say, come, are they not seeing what we're seeing? Why aren't people investing in this industry? Why is everyone, they only invest the low, what people call low-hanging fruit. A guy comes in, gets a camera on his neck, and the next thing you think you're a player in the industry. You're a craftsman, and sometimes you're shooting yourself in the foot by spending your productive years. Your young years as a craftsman, the guy next to you who is 14 and at home is...
I don't know if you heard that. Everybody wants you to have structure. Everybody wants you to have... everybody wants you to understand as government do. While I was sitting next to Mr. Kelechi Amadiobi, we talked a little bit, and we talked about how the decisions are made by the industries. In the business of creativity, you are. But you have to show them. And in our keynote today, we spoke a lot about the productification of your craft, because that's where the numbers begin to come from. So in structured financing or banking is the only way. There are so much for emergencies, crises, health emergencies, but it doesn't seem to translate to us using it for, I would even argue churches and religion use extensive crowdfunding to buy jets, So what stops us from using crowdfunding to build positionlets? And they're saying, why can't everybody see what we are seeing? So, sir, what are you seeing? Give us a little bit of expo. What are you seeing?
Okay, first things first, right? Government they have too many things they're dealing with. Government, you get about government and business. They don't mix, they don't match. Okay? So when you take government out of the equation, like you said before, we come to the real thing. Now, in government's so-called wisdom, when they hear of the creative industry, all they think about are is Nollywood and Nollywood actors, and the entire Nollywood space, the entire production space in cinematography, the entire space, from across the length and breadth of Nigeria, does not create Oyo State. The entire. So the real game is not about Nollywood. Be it a wedding, a naming, a housewarming, every single event should be accompanied by a cake, no matter what you cook.
Yeah, because an event without a cake is a meeting. You're right.
So, now what does that translate to in Nigeria? In Nigeria that hasn't even advertised, hasn't spent on the advertising budget that the Americans did to push cake. In Nigeria, 220 million people, every single birthday of every single Nigerian has a cake. So 5,000 naira per cake minimum, you look at 1 trillion naira a year in cakes. Yet, you have only 5 players. 5 national players, everyone else is individual. What nonsense. These are opportunities, that's the creative space. In photography, we are trying to push, why can't we push a photo shoot? It's already been done small, but it's not being done collectively. Say, hey, make it, it's already mandatory for weddings. We didn't do that. The white guys did it, and we're accepting it. Mandatory for weddings. It's not mandatory for birthdays. We can push these things. That's how to push business. So, but as long as with each meal, the photographers are struggling.
Okay. So
it's not that you don't push money on people.
So what I'm hearing,
yes,
is the importance of cooperation and collaboration, right? Because got together and made something, sold it as a must-have.
Yes.
Right? And so we're talking to the photographers, the budding business owners in the room, the individual players, and saying it's not enough to have your own little excellent plot.
We need to get away from the situation where every photographer believes, see, if you're a business, some photographers should understand that they can work as photographers in a business.
Yes, okay.
So that if when you create that ecosystem of, see, because the photography ecosystem, the guys who are making money in photography in this country today are not in this room.
Except one or two.
The image is one leg in a 10-leg table. The people making money from the other legs are not in this room. Photographers, when you see the business of photography, the invitation for this needs to be to, yes, the photographers who want to become business owners in photography, business operators in photography, not capturing mainly. Mainly capturing is wonderful, but you can capture images under a corporation through your bank. Your bank will present your matter, and your bank will tell you they're going to give you a collateral sheet, which is your, what's the name you call it? You call it something. Bank guarantee. And the bank tells you, okay, the bank guarantee is given to you on 4 different grounds. One, it can be cash backed. If you have the cash, why are you going to the bank? It's mad.
Okay.
Second thing they tell you to bring is your collateral for a house. The third thing they tell you to bring is assets or whatever. But let me help you understand something, and I need to say this. The idea of collateral internationally was not created for local African economies. Collateral was, see, when the UK and other countries started giving mortgages to the poor, the mortgages had an equity amount. Your rent you pay becomes your equity. After 5 years of paying rent, you have equity, which is your collateral. A country like Nigeria has no poor man, nobody. How many of you are landlords in this room? 99% of Nigerians are tenants of quarters. Do you understand? We don't have the collateral. The Nigerian public, I'm a business person. Over the years, my business has advanced to a point. So I'm speaking from a point where I know where you guys are, the real guys who are in this room. You don't have the collateral. The bank asking for collateral knows you don't have the collateral. Most of you have paid enough rent in 10 years to buy a house. But the way this country is structured to favor the landlord. I'm a landlord. I know this. It's not structured to favor you guys. So every time you pay rent, it's supposed to be... Every time you pay rent, and I want you to take this to your councillors, to your ministers, to your governors. When you pay rent, it's supposed to form a part of equity. If you're paying 5 million naira rent in Lagos for 10 years, you paid 15 million, you're supposed to own that room. So so if you don't have, if the whole state, if the Nigerian state denies you the opportunity to gain collateral, from where are you going to get the collateral for these guys? It doesn't exist. So what we've told them, because I wear this hat, I wear different hats. One of my hats, I've told these guys in government that, come, you gave Akim Bello Osage 1.5 billion. Slot is a multi-billion-dollar company. They have their own money, but they didn't bring their money. The Nigerian government, these banks, they gathered 1.5 billion, no security, no security for slots. At the lower end of the equation, 5 naira is a story. So what the government has done has asked you to become slaves to loan sharks. Because on the one side of the mouth,
is starting today.
On the one side of the mouth, it's very important for you guys to listen to. On one side of the mouth, CBN says they have not licensed all those guys who call you and say, if I catch you, your mother, your father, I want to put your name on online. CBN says they're not licensed. They charge you 8% per month. These are things that are killing the small business person. So if you're here as a creative person that wants to go into business, you need to know, just forget about anything from these guys first. They have something called the dick, forgive us ladies, the dick comparison. Who dick long pass? Do you understand that? Men here know what I'm talking about. Photographers who are in the trade are busy looking left. The difference in the quality of image produced by a 10 million naira camera and a 500,000 naira Tokubo camera, the difference, the human eye can see it. So if it's about who's the camera sellers, no vex so, because people that sell camera, they like to talk all this nonsense. I'm Canon also, that most people who are buying cameras are buying them because they want to look good to their fellow photographers, but not to the customer. In business, never look at your next person. If you are baking, don't look at the other baker's equipment. If you're shooting, don't look at the shoot plane you're flying. Customers don't need that nonsense information. If customers come to you, they need a result. Don't get trapped looking at your neighbor as a photographer. Okay. You guys, last thing I'll say, you guys need, those who want to go into the business of photography, I'll be happy to help. I know that those who are not yet ready for the business of it, go and get a job in photography. Please, thank you.
Okay, so I let him cook, and he has cooked. And there are some key takeaways from this mindset. So they are focusing on your product and less on your process. Would you say that's correct? You're focusing more on your product than on your process.
How would you say, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, because it doesn't matter the brand of the camera, etc.
Yes.
We're for product.
Yeah, the last
and making sure that what the customer...
Will help them also. Just for the sake of it, like I said, the guys who are making money in photography are not in this room. Now, why do I say so? You have a value chain. The photography value chain, the Nollywood people are playing.
Yes.
That's small money. The main value chain is in the guys who capture the image. And where is your value chain into formats? 10% of you guys give your images soft copy to your customers, and you end the story there. Are you kidding me? Are you smoking something? How can you let the entire story of your value chain be dictated by guys sitting down in Arolaya or somewhere? Guys who do not even understand what they're doing. Equipment. The guys who are trading have been trading for decades. They are semi-illiterate. I have no problem with that. But if you are so educated, so advanced, so knowledgeable, why in God's name are you leaving the entire value chain in the hands of people who are not even, how long is this life? And thinking you're in business. You know you're in business though. When you're ready, you come and talk.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
There's an email address that I'm going to give to the guys at the technical stand. They would put it up for everybody to see so that you can send an email to that address and then you can access finance. And I'll also like to get a minute at least to address a few of the things that he has said. You know, very, very key.
Bring it.
Yes.
Bring it.
Very, very
Bring it.
You know, it's...
I'm going to stick to 1 minute, please.
Yes,
After 1 minute, and that's it.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
It will be a huge disadvantage to everybody in this hall to have heard him speak so passionately and then not have us, you know. When I spoke earlier, I talked about access to finance. Access to finance is a general problem in Nigeria. And for the federal government to have come, and I think it's a very good one. And also Bank of Industry will give the cheapest interest rates in Nigeria. And I think it's a very good one. And also Bank of Industry will give the cheapest interest rates in Nigeria. 10%, you won't find that anywhere. I'm not marketing, I'm just telling you.
Crazy, but I think something that you've said.
And that's what it is. And
thank you. And what's funny is they're kind of both that you need to work together. I'm hearing that lone individuals can't do this by themselves, whether it's accessing the finance. There is power in collaboration, in connections, in understanding the value chain. You can do much more if you decided to become a wholesaler, if you knew you had 45 guaranteed uptakers in the southeast or the south, south. The point is, stop trying to be your own little creator. That's what I'm hearing. try to work together. So you build out this system. Somebody who is on 40 high streets is saying it. Somebody who is lending money to people. You can't do this on your own. And that's, I think, a good place for us to end this.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
all very much.
Please, a round of applause for our moderator and our speakers. Yeah, so we have 3 more questions.
One thing, just to say.
There's another
you
question.
Have 2 minutes, 58 seconds. Okay. Quick thing, Quick thing.
Okay, sir.
I love my brother here. Between 2010 to 2022, they've launched 3 different creative schemes. 1 for the film industry, 2 for the creative space, 1 for women in creativity. The CBN launched them 220 billion each time. On 2 of the platforms, nobody got a penny.
No, that's...
Hold on. I will bring you.
No.
I will bring you data.
It's not.
Relax.
No.
Hold on.
Some of these conversations will have to be stated with facts.
I will bring you data. Now we went. I'm not talking from space. First of all, say come. But when you guys were busy calling for getting a creative fund prepared, which
wants to know, I don't have this going to borrow me anything. So how can this work?
So I didn't hear that very well.
In just 30 seconds, please. Thank you.
I can give it a shot with my mic on. Do you want me, hello? I don't know. I don't think my mic is working properly. But I can give that a shot. Yeah, it's fine.
I have the answer. Go ahead.
Please, 30 seconds. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go fast on this one. I know that a lot. I heard a lot about finance and finance and finance. What I want to say here is that when people mention finance, you think debt every time. Credit. Yeah. In short, there's an hierarchy of how you should raise money. It starts with your money and other people around you, usually family. And the last in that hierarchy is debt at the bottom of it. So when you think finance, please consider there are options. There are loads of options. The real burden is with debt. And that's the way you should start, either as a business or as an individual. It should be your last resort. I have a about finance in future. Thank you. And I also address the person who's looking to buy a phone. Look around you, ask around you. You may just give someone to help around instead of trying to lend money and then you're in burden of paying the debt over time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please let's give our moderator and the speakers a resounding round of applause. That was a very insightful session, very engaging as well.
The person that needs a camera, is he here?
Yes. The person who says that they want to get a camera on the phone. Okay,
where's the person? That's you. Okay. You see, meet Mr. Kola.
That is what we love.
The camera.
Yes.
Right?
Thank you so much.
See Mr. Kola Salusi. And we're going to give you an entry level camera that will do professional photography for you with a lens. No charge.
Thank you so much, speakers. Yeah, please let's have a group photograph. Thank you so much. That is what we love to see and what we can ask questions. Yeah, they say that a silent mouth is words. Please, that was very good. Thank you. So, a round of applause for them again. Like I will always do. One house, please. Thank you. One house, please. One house, please. We're about to continue with the program. Thank you. Please, can we go on with the program? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Just in summary of what we have just heard, it's one thing to own your craft, but most importantly, it is very vital that what you love to do. Also, be aware, be educated about the financial parts and pay attention because this may be where you win 1 million naira. Okay, thank you. We'll be playing a little on this engagement game. We're going to have a poll on the screen right now. Please, the graphics team, are they ready? Okay, thank you so much. We want to hear from everyone. We want to know your thoughts concerning a certain question. Maybe the question is, if I give you 10 million naira question, are we tired? Okay, I love that energy. All right, so next up, we're going to have another quick tip photography session by one of our partners, Sony. Are we ready for that, please? Is the Sony representative? Okay, no, we're having a video. So right now, the graphics team will show the video. Please keep your eyes on the screen to watch this video. Thank you very much.
Finding your creative expression starts with the knowledge that you are a creative being.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Creative expression starts with the knowledge that you are a creative being.
Absolutely. To do what you love. It's really, really.
Finding your creative expression starts with the knowledge that you are a creative being.
Absolutely. Imagine get to do what you love. It's really, really exciting.
Join me and a diverse community of creators
as we share with you practical tips and answer your questions on
from filmmakers, musicians, photographers, and content creators.
It's really a marriage between what Sony has to offer in terms of story.
Yeah, I can't wait to experience this with you at this convention.
It's absolutely free, but you need to register. Go and register now.
See you at Creators Convention.
A very quick video. I think, and if it's okay to ask that we please play it again. I think we're good? Okay.
Finding your creative expression starts with the knowledge that you are
exciting. Join me
as we share with you practical tips and answer your questions on how you can monetize your hobbies and passions like I do.
So from filmmakers, musicians,
for the Sony Creators Convention
in Lagos, Nigeria. I can't wait to experience this with you at this convention.
It's absolutely free, but you need to register. Go and register now.
Creators, people that are like OGs in the industry. This doesn't leave anyone out. So if you want to be a part of the Creators Convention, please register. If you need more information about how to go about this, you can reach out to the guys on the left side or behind and, ask for. Also, do not forget that the hashtags to use for this conference are hashtag BOP Conference, hashtag BOP Conference 2024, hashtag BOP 2024, and also please tag the handle BOP Networks. Thank you. So, we're moving on to the third panel for the day. And I'm sure this will be another enlightening consultant and content expert. Please don't stop clapping. Thank you. Content experts. Welcome, ma'am. And the last, but definitely not the least, the talented Jokotade Shonowo. Jokotade is a founder and creative director of Posh Click Portraiture. Welcome on stage, John. And you don't want to blink. Thank you so much. To lead us further as our humble moderator is no other but the beautiful Mary Edora, the Chief of Staff and Head of Strategy, Bella Naija. Please give her a round of applause as she comes on stage. Gentle reminder again that this session will be for 35 minutes. We know that we have, a lot of things to share, but let's please cap it up so we can go home in due time. Thank you. Also, we're going to have a few minutes for questions. So if you have your questions, I think you should write.
Important, but has to be handled with care. I believe a lot in pushing for women empowerment, but I don't believe in pushing women to act like men. I don't know if that makes any sense. So while we're saying, a woman can do it all, it doesn't mean you have to be hard on her. It doesn't mean you have to push her or make her feel like she's not unique in her own way, in her own passions, in her own dreams. But she can be and fit into any shoes she wants to fit into without having to act like a man. And I'm so happy we have a very nice mix, 2 men versus 3 women, so we're definitely winning, right? All right, cool. So I'll start this session with my own experience as a woman working in the creative industry. This session is going to touch on 3 topics that are very passionate to me. 1 is the creative industry, 2 is women empowerment, and 3 is breaking that barrier of what has been set for women, what women can do and cannot do. So I was raised with 3 women as my sisters and a mother with 2 brothers. So you can say I came from a feminist household. The boys used to sweep and cook. The women used to, okay, we didn't used to wash cars, but yes, we were doing everything. We were all children. There was no special individual. There was no special anything. And I think for my formative years, something that was very important that was put in my mind is you and your brothers are pretty much the same. So you can study medicine or you can study engineering. Unfortunately, my parents wanted me to study either of the 2, but eventually I became a writer, so awkward. But it was really great to find that I could do anything I wanted to do. And I think that transcended and carried me on into even my professional life. So I work with a talented group of women. I work with an amazing boss who is a woman. And through the Bella Ninja platforms, I'm very excited that we have numerous programs and projects and campaigns which I lead that focus on empowering women. One of which is our Women's Month, which is currently ongoing, where we just spent 4 whole weeks in March celebrating women. So that's my story. And I want to hear from the other speakers as well, how women have played in their growth, in their careers. And I don't want to hear the story of, oh, my mom who birthed me was a woman, obviously. Just anything impactful that you can share. And it doesn't even have to be someone doing something to you. It could be you empowering someone else as a woman who's a woman. So I would like to start with Joko Tari.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having us here, Kola. I mean, this is such a brilliant initiative. And I'll just jump right into your question. And, you know, while you were narrating your experience growing up and where you work, and especially your question now, it almost seems like you just summarized, because I studied microbiology, and in my final year in uni, I discovered my passion for photography, and I pursued it. First person I called, my sister. Light bulb moment, I love photography. What do I do? She connected me. Anyway, this business starts, and before I got on this panel, I was still telling someone that every time when I take stock of what this journey has been like, I always see women helping me, connecting me with people, with resources, with opportunities. And if I look at the bulk of the clients that I photograph, they're women, because women are the marketplace, literally. They're the ones who make the decisions for the families, for their husbands, you know, when it comes to photography-related issues.
Well, I'm looking of just industry. It means in spite of those, they succeeded in spite of the setbacks. You know, into the photography, if you look around the world. But if you ask me to advise, I would say 1.
I'd like to come to you really quickly. Okay, I like that this is a very diverse session. So we have the core people in photography and we have film as well. About 37% of women in the film industry it's the only percentage of women that get key speaking role is presented to the public. And I know there have been a lot, it's a very controversial topic.
Because they know, and this is not to knock men, we need to unwarp our minds with regards to how, I feel like sometimes as men, I don't know if it's intimidation, I don't know if it is fear, I don't know if it's our ego, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to speak Yoruba now. When we see a woman in power, a man, like, you know, you snicker at the woman, you feel like, no, my actresses, my female producers, and some of us men, we don't really do, we just hustle, maybe we just hustle with, no, And I veer.
Thank you so much. Please, a round of applause for our speakers. Okay, Bukola, I'll come to you since Tope touched on leadership and now women in the creative sector and women at leadership roles in the creation for women who are at the helm of major organizations. Sometimes we hear, it's a woman driver. Oh yeah, she's going to cut into your lane or something. Very arrogant. Are those perceptions for real, or are these just stereotypes that are forced on women?
There are always going to be perceptions. There's always going to be stereotypes. As long as you're a man and you're a woman, there will always be stereotypes. And the problem with labels is that you make it mean how you project that thing to others, and that's how other people would also see you. I find it always interesting when we have this conversation around gender, that it always stems from women. But you find that when we talk of women in leadership, but there's sets of the creative industry, and I think the conversation really should generally be about how women are perceived, how women are received, how women are projected on, right? Whether you're in leadership, it's always very interesting to me because the conversation shouldn't really just be about how do we treat women. It is important, that's for sure. Household, everybody was the same. Everybody was treated the same way and received the same way. So if the woman is going to do chores, the man too must go and do chores, right? So I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying that generally we're not going to have the same interests, and generally we're not going to have the same outcome. But what we should be pushing forward, what we should be put against, is just the discrimination. Because you have the ability, and what I can do should be based about, the opportunities that I'm giving should be based about, or based on the merit of my ability, on the merit of my competence, regardless of whether I'm a man or a woman. So I think that's the conversation we should be pushing. And to be honest with you, I don't think that our women, and I'm not talking about the ones who are working hard, I don't think that our women are helping their image. You're talking about reputational bias. Well, they're feeding it. They're feeding the bias constantly. In the music videos, they're feeding it. In the films, they're feeding it. They're feeding that bias. So how can the women themselves help themselves to prepare or repair their reputation so that the men can also begin to see them in a better light? How can you make sure that you're not taking the roles that make you seem like you're easy? How can you be in a position where when you go for audition?
Wow. Thank you, Bukola. I want to pull on a few things that have been said across all the speakers. Virginal, modest roles.
But someone has to build the cards. I mean, someone has to play the
That's
role.
not even what I'm saying, right? That's not even what I'm saying. I'm talking about beyond the conduct of the role that you play, all right? And I'm going to come to you, storytellers. Beyond the conduct of the role that you play, there's also the conduct that is off-screen. It's the conduct off-screen I'm talking about. It's the conduct before you get in front of the camera that I'm talking about. That is the one that needs to change. That is the one that needs to be elevated. And until that is elevated, the story will not change. Producers will take advantage of what wants to be taken advantage of. At some point, earlier on in my career, I've worked in some of these, what you call these things now, reality shows, Nigerian Idol, and the rest of them, right? And auditions. It's not the person auditioning them that they are cutting eye for. It is the runners that they think will get them in front of the auditioner that they're sleeping with. I kid you not. I kid you not. If you go to their rooms, those runners, they are the ogas. What I'm saying is it's about the conduct before you even get the role. Because it is that continuation of that, that conduct that you think, and it's, the unfortunate thing is that
Probably his wife is talking to one bobo, and he goes berserk. Like, why would the wife do that? But he thinks that he's justified to constantly cheat. But the expectation he has of his wife is maybe to be a saint or to be some Jesus. And I feel like it's disproportionate and unfair to the woman. You know.
I hear you. I don't know how that relates to this particular conversation, but I hear you. And the expectation, so I want to keep within this conversation, right? Because when you say that society, the expectation society has of women, is society pushing women to go and sleep with their producers and directors? No.
Of course not. But
So
I'm saying
I'm
that
just keeping it within the context of this conversation. However, society, of course, we would say is patriarchal, right? We would say that there's an imbalance. I don't know what the word is. There's an imbalance in how men generally expect women to behave, to behave towards them and all that. There definitely is. And I'm not sure that it's going to change drastically anytime soon. That's why these conversations are, you will have these conversations around, women empowerment and feminism and all that. That is what has brought up this whole rise of feminism and all that crap, if you like me to use that word. Right? But I think the fundamental thing is that for us to accept that we are different and for us to key into our individual strengths, I think that is the key. To embrace our differences and not see them as weaknesses, but as strengths.
Now, the thing is this. I agree with both of you. I don't know if you get what I mean. Then it behoves me. I don't know if you get what I mean. Then it behoves me to make good use of that unfair advantage. Maybe I'm eloquent. I got it from my parents and from the books I read. And you stutter. And there's a job that requires you not just to photograph, but also to present on TV. Then I have an undue advantage over you that stutters. Now, being a woman gives you certain advantages.
Yep.
Do not try to be like a man. Find your strength in being a woman and use it. I remember we wanted to have an exhibition. We have a group then, a long time ago, called Depth of Field. Myself, Uche, Iroaha, T.Y. Bello, and Amaiza. Then we were just 4. And we said, we are going to go into Lagos and do Lagos inside. So we are going to show these foreigners that we know Lagos, and we are going to show the real Lagos because we live here. So I decided to shoot inside the mall. Okay, not outside it. And I had to go a whole day to do a recce and get permission from a particular Molue driver in order to bring out my camera. T.Y. Bello went to Ojo Legba bus stop and did portraits of area boys smoking Igbo. I cannot try that thing. Mind you, that was when Ojo Legba was Ojo Legba. I don't know if you get what I mean. Ojo Legba is saying now. T.Y. will smile at them and they say, take the photo. Fine girl. I don't know if you understand. Now it's nothing. It's who she is. She's being feminine. She's using her power. There's nothing wrong with it. Now there will always be bad people. There are bad men that cheat, that take advantage of girls because they are men. There are bad girls that entice men to get what they want. And they give both men and women a bad reputation. Like what she said, we are pushing for equal opportunities for both men, and we should not expect equal outcome because they are different. You say, I'm giving Kelechi equal opportunity. Take camera, go under Ojo Legba Bridge and shoot area boys. I'll come out with a broken head. Equal opportunity. T.Y. goes there and she gets the most amazing pictures with smiles. It's not an equal outcome. I don't know if you get what I mean. Give a girl the 200mm 2.0 lens that is massive without a monopod to be getting a few photographs of this event. You won't get too many photos. Her back will start paining her. Carrying that camera, she can't even, to carry that camera is like carrying a dumbbell. You understand? Take a guy who's been working out, he'll probably hold it for about 2 hours before he gives up. they all have their differences, you know. And but again, when we look at culture, it's a culture that gives men a little advantage. In those days, in the days of hunter-gathering, physical strength was everything. But times have changed. Right now, it's what is inside your head. And photography itself is all about the photographic eye. And that advantage really doesn't exist that much. It goes up and down based on your temper as a human being. And your gender contributes in a lot of ways, even to certain temperaments that you have, you know. And I say, what we need to do is to provide equal, and yes, those stereotypes we have to work on, both for men and women.
It's a nail on the head with different ways and different scenarios, which we cannot. We are trained and raised as women, you know. If you have if a man and a woman, if you catch a man and a woman having a conversation about cooking, not trained chefs, the conversation, it can get very heated, because the woman is like, you know what, I've been raised like this from birth and I know how to do da-da-da-da. And then the man's like, yeah, but I too. So in terms of that mentorship, I feel like we as women have that responsibility to also impact values to other women. So you've risen to a certain level. You've gotten to a level of success. How are you training or building up other women to also own their own narrative in a way that is positive for the whole ecosystem?
All right. Thank you so much. So if there's anything that I'm very clear about and I'm very vocal about, is the challenges that women tend to face in business. While you might have the same opportunity, the same gear, the same market available to you as both male and female, in this case I'll be focusing on photographers, right? But there comes a point in your life, and that point is where you start a family, that things would dip. And I personally went through it. It takes a lot of resilience to come back into the industry and thrive. And this is not even just for photography alone. It cuts across. I had my daughter, and for 6 months, I was out. When I came back, everything was like, it was very strange to me. I felt like an alien. But I took my lessons from there. For me, I saw it as a season. And what I did with that season was, I immersed myself in learning. I learned like I had never done before, such that by the time I was done with my son, I came back with so much fire, so much force, that everyone keeps asking me, didn't you just have a baby? In fact, when I had him, I was due to come back like maybe 3 months after. I changed my ticket back. I was in Lagos, he was 6 weeks. 2 days after that, I was out a pre-wedding shoot. Throughout my pregnancy period, I was learning. So these are stories that I personally share. They are relatable. I don't want people to say, oh, I don't want you to glamorize it. You know, say it as it is, so that it's easy. It's easy to follow, you know. And this, at that stage where women start families, is at the point where a lot of vibrant female photographers, you know, go down or slow down or sometimes even fade out. Now, with more female photographers going into baby photography, family photography, but I love children, but I don't like to do newborn photography. I prefer to photograph women. So I'm not going to let that be a limitation around. Make sure that you, and when you are at war, you need to be ready to fight and push through, which is challenges. So what are to family life and the likes? And we think we can have many, many more calls
for her. Bukola, I'd like to come to you on an industry level. The last panel, they were speaking about putting a structure. When you start, men, there's already that tipping scale for us. And we see that even in this room here, I know that we have so many photographers, so many people in the creative industry, but I think I can pretty much count how many women. Yes, so I can also be on that table. I can make my mark, even if I'm not a photographer holding the camera or a creative doing the copywriting, etc., but from that leadership level.
A helping hand shouldn't also be come up, because at the end of the day, it might be lonely at the top, but the balance can be, it can be shared if there's a bit more balance at the top, So I think that's what I would say on that.
Thank you. And just to sort of round up, because I can see you, Motunde.
Thank you.
I'm all for he for she, and I love that the two men on our panel are very vocal about that. So, Tokwe, I want to ask you, what are some biases or imbalances that in the film industry that you're done with? You don't want to see this going forward. You don't want to hear people this or like this. What are some of these biases that you've seen? It could be one. It could be more than.
I think we've discussed one. I guess some of it, yes. Some people bring it to themselves, but it's not holistic. It's not everybody. I know many people, of course, you don't know people into like what they think in depth, but just generally speaking, it's not as holistic as it seems to appear. I disagree. You hear stuff like, oh, I can't marry an actress, I can't. No, I will marry them and you should marry them. They are awesome ones there. So if you meet an actress, marry her. Don't get back way, but point is, let's not just generalize, no. And I think I just want to end on this note, right? Diversity in this context is not a zero-sum game. It's a win-win for everybody. Yeah. So we should all embrace it.
Awesome.
And there was something you said in terms of, have you ever carried such and such lens and how heavy it is?
Somebody is lazy. No, we don't want them, boy or girl. It's as simple as that. If you're hardworking, you're focused, why not? You understand? And I hope that's the same with everybody. It's not always easy. Talking about what they are saying, we all have those biases. When you see a man pulling up in a Rolls Royce, you'll be like, this guy has worked hard for his money. And then you see a girl pulling up in a red Range Rover, because she's young, you'll be like, I don't want to say anything, no. Say, wow, man, what does this girl do? Let's find out. Maybe she can inspire us, to be as, as hardworking. It is, Chimamanda said it, they want you to be successful, but don't be too successful. If you're making a lot of money, don't show it so that you will get a husband. Society has some of those biases that also plays on the mental health of women. I do think we need to sort of, if we think deeply, we'll understand that we are all in that kind of, psychological quack where it's been implanted into our heads. That, subconsciously, so if we can take care of those biases, it will encourage women, because a lot of times what motivates people to work hard is to be able to show.
Thank you very much. Big round of applause for our panel.
You have one question? Yeah, we have one question here, but please let's give.
As a 19-year-old, very passionate photographer.
All right, so what I would say is that in life there are seasons. What takes you from year 1 to year 3 is not the same knowledge that's going to take you from year 3 to 6. So as you arrive at each stage, figure out what you need and seek that knowledge to fill the gap. Even though you're running a creative business, you need to know how to run a proper business. So if you do not know how to do it yourself, you hire consultants. Mind you, the consultant is actually not going to give you all the answers.
Yeah.
Let me chip that in right there. You now need to take what they've told you, what you are experiencing, then fill in the gap. So the work is heavily placed on you, but you have to learn per time. There's no end to learning, and that's where I'll keep it at.
Thank you very much. So basically, passion is good. Someone has something to say. Okay, please go ahead. Thank you. No?
Oh, right. Okay. Okay. So I feel like there are different parts, or there are different ways to skin a horse. So at the point, I studied mass communication as my first degree. I wanted to study theater, but they didn't allow me. And I wanted to do a master's abroad at some point, you know, in acting and whatnot, but I couldn't afford it. So what did I do? I went on YouTube. I read all the books. I watched all the movies. I learned all the monologues. If there's a free seminar somewhere, I'm there. There's a symposium somewhere, I'm there. So, you know, if you can't afford to go to school, if you can afford to go to school, get a PhD, by all means, I support that. But if you can't do that, this alternative means to learn is something to take up. And yeah.
Thank you so much. And just to round up the conversation, I know we've spoken at length about gender imbalances, disparities between men and women in the creative industry. I'd like to say to all my wonderful, beautiful women, the first step is to always believe in yourself and to not take the side of the victim as a woman. So whether you are in a creative space or you are in a male-dominated industry, never ever take the side of, oh, I'm a woman. I think my brother will always say this, because you are a woman driver, do not go and put the Lena sign on your car, just so that everybody know you are a Lena. You know, so do not take the side of the victim. Yes, there are imbalances. Yes, there are stereotypes that we have to break out of, but never ever take the side of the victim. You're unique, and always be proud of your uniqueness. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And to add to that, passion is good, but at the same time, I mean, yeah. Thank you so much. Please a round of applause for our speakers. Thank you so much. Please a round of applause for our speakers and the moderator. Please, can we have a group photograph? Thank you so much. Thank you, Tokwe, Mr. Kelechi, Bukola. Yeah. Thank you, session. And, you know, just few things that I noted is that, you know, allow people to shine in their brightest light. You know, a man or a woman is not, let's clap, please. Thank you. I know we're tired, but please, let's just give them a round of applause. They've shared knowledge here today. They've shared their ideas. These are people that actually, they pay for consultation. So having them here to speak to accolades that they can get. Okay, we're going to go now on a water and bathroom break. Are we excited? Yes, okay. So now for 5 to 7 minutes, please grab a bottle of water, stay refreshed, use the restroom. If you step on the left side within the building, the reality spot, you can just do something nice. Also, there are experiential areas where you can take a picture or two, or make a video as well. We're going to come back again in 7 minutes, so please stay refreshed and let's end the second half of the event. Thank you very much. Give us something light.
Recently appointed Director General to the Institute of Museums and Archaeology Studies. I will be speaking at the Business of Photography Conference to exchange ideas, inspire, enlighten each other, explore the evolving role and the visual arts has in brand storytelling, be it on macro level. In other words, your primary community, as an individual, as a corporation, or for country. And especially in this digital age, I look very much to participate
at the Business of Photography Conference. Let's share wisdom.
My name is Malik Afebua. I'm the CEO of Slick System Media.
And also Nere Emiko on the right side within the building. We need to mic you for your session immediately. Thank you.
I'm a photographer and I'm into documentary photography. I love Nigeria a lot. And at this stage of my life, if you're 55 and above, we should be thinking of what can we do for Nigeria, not what Nigeria can do for you. I'll be speaking at the BOP conference. Responsibility. You have to be at the BOP conference to hear more about it.
I really see that in how much impact has been made in the last few years. To every conference, you see the number of people, creatives, photographers, videographers, cinematographers, bloggers, how businesses connect, how people come together, how conversations, how we've been able to bring industry experts from various spaces within the various industries to come and have conversations. You can clearly see the boom in the industry. It's moved from unrecognized industry to a multi-trillion naira industry. I can't wait to see you there this year, 20 here in Lagos. The door opens at 9 a.m. It's going to be exciting. So it's important to understand what we're building. The Best of Photography Conference has gone from why to when. And you can clearly see that in how much impact has been made in the last few years. To every conference, you see the number of people, creatives, photographers, videographers, cinematographers, bloggers, how business is very pivotal to the structure of the industry we're trying to build. And we cannot stop. There's anything to go by is the amount of people the project has impacted in the last few years. And we can clearly see the boom in the industry. It's moved from the 20th of March at the Moson Center here in Lagos. The door opens at 9 a.m. It's going to be exciting. So it's important to understand what we're building. The best of photographic people, creatives, photographers, videographers, cinematographers, bloggers, how businesses connect, how people come together, how conversations, how we've been able to bring industry experts from various spaces within the impacted. The most disruptive one that has come to fore in the last few years, and that's artificial intelligence, how we're able to use it. And more importantly, as the theme of this experience, various forms of integration, how technology connects with photography at the Moson Center here in Lagos. The door opens at 9 a.m. It's going to be exciting. And technology has played a very, very important role, which is why the conversations this year are going to be big on come to fore in the last few years. And that's artificial intelligence, how we're able to use it. And more importantly, as the theme of this year goes, culture exchange, the art of business. How do we sell our culture? How do we turn our culture to an export product? And it's exciting while we look forward to here in Lagos. The door opens at 9 a.m. It's going to be exciting.
My name is Chalia Shagaya, recently appointed Director General to the Institute of Museums and Archaeology Studies. I will be ideas, inspire, enlighten each other, explore the evolving role and the visual arts has in brand storytelling, be it on the micro or macro level. In other words, your primary community, as an individual, as a corporation.
Very, very important role, which is why the conversations this year are going to be big on discussing technology, especially the most disruptive one that has come to fore in the last few years, and that's artificial intelligence, how we're able to use it. And more importantly, as the theme of this year goes, culture exchange, the art of business. How do we sell our culture?
It's cultural appreciation.
Okay, I like the way you've kept it simple and straightforward. So I'll take appropriation from from your hand.
You're giving me appropriation. I'll be sitting here
Sorry?
for a long time because I've been known to write articles on that were published in newspapers. So I'd say cultural appropriation is the complete opposite of what Mary has said, which is rather than appreciating culture or other people's culture as a way of influencing your creativity or your art, you go on and appropriate or misrepresent or steal, so to speak, rather than use the existing culture as inspiration for what you're creating.
I like that, and I like you keeping it simple. So I'll quickly go to no, it's okay. Apologies, please. Take the floor. Thank you. So I'll quickly go back to Tayo on this. Stephen Tayo. So I'll take this from the context of the and why this is very important for us is each of you one way or the other work in the culture space, and I won't say work in the culture space. Nere runs a festival, the culture festival. I think it's the
Legacy of Tradition.
Sorry?
Legacy of Tradition.
Yes, Legacy of Tradition Culture Festival. And the festival last year was amazing in Kano. I mean, I had to fly down. It had over 30,000 people. How many? Yeah, over 30,000 people experienced the festival last year. And Charlie, I mean, beyond every other thing, what you do also in culture. But I find Stephen Tayo's role very interesting, very, very interesting in culture. So I'll put it this way. Now, so how does embracing diverse culture influences contribute to how you create as a creative?
I think when we think about our already diverse Nigeria is as a country, or how we think about the conversation around just the different levels and multiplicity of how we want to communicate what seem to sort of represent Nigeria, the idea of diversity then becomes more sort of key, because we know that, you know, we are countries of different cultures and different sort of ideologies, and the contribution that diversity sort of brings to my work is sort of creates in such a specific way that I'm not sort of mixing everything together, because what happens sometimes in Lagos can only happen in Lagos. And what happens in Kano can only exist in that sphere of, you know, locality. So I think it's really like a important like sort of observation to think about what you think, you know, diversity is, even in the local context. Because usually when people think about the conversation diversity, people most of the time think black and white and like, you know, and I think for me, one of the observations I like to make is when you think more locally what diversity sort of is, then it's sort of easier to communicate or sort of to tell stories. That,
you know, how does it build, you know, the creative economy? How does the creative economy foster? Who's going to go first?
I think Mary should go first.
Sorry?
Mary can go first. So I'll use an example of what you were speaking about earlier, the Cultural Film Festival. So last year we had I think 5-week Cultural Film Festival, the first one in Nigeria in Kano. And what was interesting is you had different cultures, documentaries, cultural documentaries just coming through. And you can imagine the collaboration that happened to put things together. You had, for example, you had people who were from outside Nigeria involved in the Kano Durbar documentary. You had people from Kano involved in a documentary. Putting together even a documentary of a certain place needed different lenses from outside to make it, because in this case we're trying to go for something that was international standard. What would be acceptable from a global perspective? So you had to have different collaboration even on that. Now, that's one level. Then even when we're collaborating to put the Cultural Film Festival together, honestly, there's no way, I would say, that you want to put together something that will be well received, accepted on a global scale, if you don't have a diverse cultural...
Panelists we had earlier talked about how the lack of understanding who we are culturally has pushed us apart as a nation and as a people. So how can cross-cultural collaboration, you know, within the creative space, how can it build bridges? How can it foster more relationships? How can it build wealth? Because key thing for us as photography is wealth. How can it build wealth? How can it expand the global economy?
I think it's very important, first of all, for us to understand and appreciate our very sort of unique
situation we have in Nigeria. There are 371, please give me the right number if I'm wrong, ethnic groups.
It's about 500 and
No,
something.
languages about 500 and something.
Yeah, okay,
I believe,
that's about
or
200 and something, almost 300.
So very diverse.
Yeah.
So again, it's a very unique situation we have. So how do we begin to unify, these multiple cultures in one creation?
And she's like, oh, there has to be this, there has to be that, and she mentioned saying things that, should define it from an African perspective, and I laughed. And I told her, I'm sorry, I was born here, I grew up here, I've never seen any of these things you've said before in my life, so I'm not sure which of the Africa you're talking about, and it was sort of a turning point for me at that point in time. So now, for you as a creative, what principles should guide, what principles do you think should guide individuals and organizations in respectfully engaging with and repose in their various narratives? Is there a principle that should guide, both individuals, both organizations? Because we need to understand that it's almost becoming a systematic thing. How certain people define certain other people.
Like they were going for an agenda about Lagos, about Nigeria, and at that time it was really booming and growing, and I think rather than having to look too much about the difficulties, I think I'd rather sort of promote the conversation. So I think understanding that it's not just a me thing, and also look beyond photography and seek writers' wisdom, seek creative directors' wisdom, because as a community, it always seemed more like, not easy, but sort of doable to negotiate a better representation of what your community feels like. So I think the principles, I also not, specific, because every commission, every situation sort of have like a sort of particular ways to deal with it. I think the more people publish conversation about what's happening in Nigeria, the more people use, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter to have this conversation, the more then the database of the internet then stay updated, because it's also very important for us as people to really promote, just like we've done to music and fashion and music.
Okay, I like that. Thank you so much. So, Mary, I'll come to you with this question. But any one of you can actually, throw in an input into this. So, how can creators and businesses build resilience and adaptability, integrity in their storytelling? Considering the fact that easily people are lured into trying to share narrative in a certain way, especially when it's a trend, how can creators and businesses build, resilience, adaptability?
Okay. I think I'll give an answer in a funny way. I think just from the culture they already have. Now, in all this, it wasn't easy. It was actually war. But the point is, because there was that appreciation, you went through all the hurdles. Some things passed, some things didn't pass. But at the end of the day, you find more acceptance when innovation is coming with respect and appreciation and honor. There's nothing like it. It doesn't mean everyone will agree, but you will find that there's a group of people that will eventually come and say, we appreciate what you're doing. You're promoting our culture. I may not like this, but they appreciate, it brings that, I would say, that same glory and honor when people see their culture coming out. So that's really what I'll say. I think if the intent is right, coming with a healthy respect and honor, I think we'll get better output.
Yeah. The fact that you have to be very careful in respecting the existing cultural heritage of the people while highlighting it for the world to see. And also, it's important to sort of give them the lead. Yes. Let them feel like they're in charge of telling their own story. Meanwhile, you are controlling the narrative from the back. Take it to the story for them. So give them that respect. Let them feel like they are leading in telling their story and showing their cultural heritage to the world. the rest of us.
So you want to say something?
I mean, I totally agree with what she said. I think sort of putting people who we document as sort of in charge of the story is also very key.
This question is, slightly dear to me, and it was one of the core, those sectors going back to some level of authenticity and every fashion story.
For me, it's like sort of drawn to it almost every day. I mean, yes, there are the challenges, but I think, understanding that things takes a lot of time when it's a business, and sort of just, finding ways to collaborate with different people. And I think now the key stuffs are the common stuff, the things that seem like are not, conceptual are the concepts. The things that seem that are not very much celebrated are already like, I mean, if we use what's going on in the ecosystem of fashion now, where even international e-commerce struggling, and think about how the markets women operate, for example, and how it's quite very intimate and very intentional, very, oh, have you checked up on this customer yet, today? Can you follow up on them today? So there's a lot of even local sort of understanding that we can use as concepts and follow through to use to solve this, big issue that seems to be very conceptual.
Can I add?
Yes, please.
So, random, my experience. So I'm in mining, but I also used to design clothes, furniture, and now I'm in culture. Several things. And I wanted to say this about my sense about business and being creative. I think the fundamental thing is being rooted. When I say rooted, this is spiritual rooting. Basically, you just have to have roots. Who are you? What is your core? There has to be some kind of conversation with yourself where you know who you are, and you're very rooted. Once you're rooted, then you have to be open, exploring new ideas, creativity. Along that flow, that's
They go to the next.
Yeah, exactly. But think like a tree. If you're rooted, no matter how that tree is going, following the line, really makes a difference, and it's something people don't really talk about in the creative industry.
Yeah, it's actually one of my favorite quotes, actually.
Yeah.
And it says, people without the knowledge of past history.
In the context where money making is very important, especially in an economy like Nigeria. Now, would it sound if I have to appropriate my culture to satisfy projects, or is it fair enough for me to interpret it in a way that, well, maybe I will define it as interpretation as against appropriation? Okay.
First of all, that's true. So you're not stealing your own.
That's true.
Do you understand? I think what you're so you want to sell yourself short for money.
So the question is money.
No, I wouldn't advise it. It's money. No, it's money. But not all money is good money, because at the end of the day, you're selling yourself short and the larger community. Because what are you going to gain? You're going to give. Whereas here singing, we want to bring back artifacts, bring them back, bring them home. You want to take it back and give them. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry, I apologize. Sometimes there's some things that are just not worth you compromising your values, cultural values for. I'm sorry.
I think, same thing she said, but I'm going to say it harsher. Back to this
I'm just the moderator.
No, I know.
They gave me the question.
Fair enough, it's not your question. The thing I'm saying about being rooted, if you think about designers, I keep saying this about creativity. Think about Fela and everyone. Look, the best artists, you're going to get lost in the world. You're lost. So this is why I say so if you do that, if you understand what you're doing, you're selling yourself. The moment if you understand what creativity is and how that spirit is flowing and the waters of, that's the way I'll say it. It's not even money. If you eat it, then eventually you find that if you may not even, but other people.
I think people can exercise the freedom to be vultures, but So it's now left to them to look. So I think sort of just that life is just not all good to figure out some sort of situation, but understand the ideologies of, for example, say things like there's no ethics or maintain instances that you cannot, you can see and observe. Think about how West photograph what happens on the continent and how we photograph the instance, because it's not understanding that sort of helps to make it more free will for people to, be vultures if they want to be.
So it's still, so you're saying it's open-ended and it's a thing of choice?
Yep.
You want to say something? Yeah, go ahead, please.
I'm sorry.
It's a politician, so I
don't. Are you more than more of a politician? So I'm not agreeing with you. I really do not see why anyone can exercise the right to be a cult. They take it and act like they started it without giving credit to the inspiration, which is mostly out of Africa, possibly Nigeria. I'm not saying they should go ahead and just be
But the understanding of just like working in the space, I know, is that even the fact that,
you were able to appropriate
people understand that this is not, but then they accumulate all of these things, they still get celebrated, and people don't call them out. So I think, how do we...
If you have the people who take pride in what they own, they will not allow things be stolen from them. So I think this kind of comes back to the balance that is needed with this, like the agencies. Let me use Kano for the example. There's a lot of things one could never get away with doing in Kano. If you like, do it in London. If it's Kano, they will come after you. Just at best, give credit or take it down or an apology. So I think very poor, they sold themselves. Like you said, they'll get away with it. So it comes back to really who's doing the protection and who cares. So
I
that's,
know we're almost... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Vulture.
Set up regulations or regulatory bodies to monitor the vultures that Stephen speaks of.
Okay, so if it comes, we'll have to monitor the vultures.
So
this brings us to the end of this panel.
Yes, we are. Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much. That was such a... Thank you. We're gradually winding down. Well, one day, I want to say ourselves around, we've gathered a bit of knowledge to push us further in our creative careers. We're going to have a QR code on the screen right now to take in everything that is discussed on the next panel, which is the last panel, like I said. While that is happening, please, so if you're speaking on the last panel, please make your way to the left side of the hall to be mic'd. Thank you very much. DJ, can we just have something for like 2 minutes just to ease the room a little bit? Like something very, nice. Is that possible? Please, can we have music? Just music while they are being mic'd before we introduce the last session. Okay, no music. Okay, we're going to play a video now. The video is a... Are we having videos playing or not? Thank you. Please don't forget that as you head out, there's a mural outside that you can just, draw something nice. Conference, #BOP conference.
You can clearly see that in how much impact has been made in the last few years. To every conference, you see the number of people, creatives, photographers, videographers, cinematographers, bloggers, how businesses connect, how people come together, how conversations, how we've been able to bring industry experts from various spaces within the various industries to come and have conversations that are very, very pivotal to the structure of the industry we're trying to build. And we cannot stop. there's anything to go by, is the amount of people, and technology has played a very, very important role, which is why the conversations this year is how we're able to use it. And more importantly, as the theme of this year goes, culture exchange, the art of business. How do we sell our culture? How do we turn our culture to an export product? And it's exciting. While we look forward to the people that will be on the panel this year. These are people who, one way or the other, have led various industries themselves, and we just can't wait to be at the conference this year. We can't wait to listen to the conversation, to experience, various forms of integration, how technology connects with photography, how finance connects, how government and policies connect. I can't wait to see you there this year, 20th of March at the Muson Center here in Lagos. The door opens at 9 a.m. It's going to be exciting.
Thank you very much. So right about now, I believe that our speakers have been mic'd and they're ready. So I will be taking this conversation on as I introduce the last being mic'd. Oh, okay, yes, please. Welcome on stage. Thank you very much. We have Ijeoma Amagula, the founder and creative lead, EJ Works Media. Welcome on stage, ma'am. Also, we have Asabe Vincent Otinono, the CEO, founder of Bayo Omoboriowo. Please, I hope I pronounced that well. Please correct me if you can. Please, a round of applause for them as they come on stage. And the moderator for this session is Tobi Olaniun. Is Tobi here to moderate this session? Thank you. Please give a round of applause as they come on board. I know you're tired, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Please, let's be reminded again, we have just 45 minutes for this session. Let's make it as interactive and as, short, precise as possible. We're going to take questions. So if you have any questions for these speakers, please write it down in the paper or signify that you would like to ask. And I'm sure with the last speaker walking towards me, we're ready to start. Tobi, over to you. Thank you very much.
Hello. Okay. Hi, everyone.
Oh, she's got mine.
Hello, good afternoon. This is the most exciting panel, and we're all seeing bro. Okay, so we did a poll earlier. Can we put up the QR code, please? Okay, so my name is, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tobi Olaniun. I'm founder of TEPS. Who registered for this event? How did you come for this event? Did you register? Was the process seamless? Yay! So that's our platform. It's our event tech platform called TEPS. So we do content marketing, event ticketing, on-site registration. And my other hat is we plan events. So if you had a good time, we partnered with BOP on this. So welcome. I think I can say welcome regarding this event. I have a very interesting panel, very intelligent people, and we don't have a lot of time. I hope this 10 minutes is not for us because we can't discuss in 10 minutes. So we did a poll earlier asking if everyone here engages in tech. Almost everybody said yes. And it varied from Google Drive to immersive storytelling. There were many different things given. But I didn't see anybody saying that they, engaged in AI, and Malik is beside me, and all that fun stuff. I want this panel to be very interactive. If you have any question regarding tech, we're going to address it, not at the end, but right in the middle. So if you have any question, because one thing BOP is very passionate about is empowering photographers. It's not about us having conversations that you can't be practical in your business with. So any question you have regarding smart tech, please let us know. So regarding the poll, everybody says they engage in tech. And, you know, from you guys are deep tech or deep photographers or deep storytellers. I think the first thing I'd like you guys to share is if there was one thing you wanted them to engage in tech for their businesses to thrive, what is that one thing? And if somebody has given that one thing, please give your second thing. I want them to really go with practical things that they can use in their businesses. I'll start with you, Malik, since you are closest to me.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hello, everybody. Good to be here. I don't know if you can hear me clearly. So I would say immersive technology and artificial intelligence for various reasons. Okay. So I would say immersive technology and AI for various reasons. Immersive tech, for instance, we're used to watching things on television, 2D, but the emotions are very different when it comes to virtual reality and augmented reality. You get to actually experience the product or the content. You'll be a part of that thing, okay, and that's where the future is going to. And for AI, taking away all the ethical sides of it, there are other ways to use it as well, that you could use it to augment, you could use it to make your work better, and even ways you could not even imagine where it could take you to. I've been working with in the AI system for the past 2 to 3 years now, and it's propelled my business tremendously. Yeah.
Awesome. AI. Alexa can shoot that video. So that's how we use AI to solve those boring tasks. So you were talking about view. Some people say Bayo, but it's a play on the word view. And it's a one-stop number one. A second product that we have is a stock visual library, kind of like Getty and Shutterstock, but just for Afrocentric images. So for
on the future generally, not just in tech. So imagine right now you start playing in that industry, an industry that is still being fleshed out. How I would say it is, I would say it's like starting Facebook before Facebook became Facebook, right? Playing in it now is going to genuinely change how you navigate your business, how you navigate photography, storytelling, filmmaking. Playing in it now allows you to be one of the people leading the industry 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And that's going to be an industry that would hold us for a very long time, just like how your 2D technology has held us for over 60 years.
All right. Okay,
Thank you,
for
sir.
me, I run a photography business, and I also run a photography academy. And in my academy, we have over 15,000 photographers in the community. So one big thing that tech has done for me in my business is to generate data. You know, data is big for every business. And I use this data to make decisions when we want to release new products for photographers in our community. Even when we want to even have like free workshops, trainings, you know, we ask them questions. We have a platform where it just automatically, you know, in gathering data.
Thank you, Shay. Ijama.
Use the mic.
I don't think that's what.
Sound, please.
Hello?
Hello? Okay, hi. Hi, good evening, everybody. One major thing that tech has done for us in our company, I run a media brand that focuses more on tech and brands, is customer experience. So how do you want your clients to see your pictures that they took? So this is how we have used VR. We don't just want clients to see their pictures from their phones. We want them to have an experience just by seeing their pictures. So VR for me. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I would hold on to the mic, please, Ijama. So you and Shay are storytellers, video and pictures. How do you think people can stand out, businesses can stand out, storytellers can stand out with tech? We have 1,000,000 and a dozen photographers, videographers. how can they use tech to position, to give value to customers and just basically stand out?
Okay, so I think you need to come from the position of what solution do you want to actually solve. You need to understand the problem you're at. EJ Works, we always want to know how to make our process easier, and obviously we want to make everything as automated as possible. And this runs with to us how we send their pictures to them. So in as much as Google Drive is like a platform where people can get their pictures, we are also thinking, oh, how can a client have them for 10 years? How can we build CRM tools that people can actually have these things? So just understanding the solution, I know that as a photographer, a lot of things can be happening. We want to please our client just by everything we are doing. Yeah, so that's it for me.
Shay?
I do a lot of portraits and events, and AI can literally help your product become better. You know, we have our mind, there are certain things we tend to create, and we don't have some locations here to bring that dream to life. But with AI, you can add backgrounds, you can get, you can literally take an image, you select the client out of the image and just create something dreamy, something beautiful that even the client does not expect. AI can really help improve the product you deliver. I'm not trying to say you should manipulate, but it's good to also add beauty, to your photographs. And from the place of the internal processes, when it comes to your customer experience and everything in between, I believe AI can really help do that.
Awesome, thank you. Scott, I know you are very, very front end, every end. Where do you think we're at in this environment? And where do you think we're at? That's the first question. And what are the next?
Reality, augmented reality. We're all talking about all of this. Now, the question is, how many of us here have built an AI? How many of us here have built, create an immersed version of it and allow people to be sitting in their house and feel like they're sitting beside someone. That already exists, yes? How many of us have, the school of it, we know, we don't build it. I feel like that's where we need to get to. Where we are is where everyone else is. We know the tools, we know the technology that is available. We are creating great content. Let's not even deceive ourselves. We're doing amazing things, right? The things we're doing are phenomenal. I'm happy that we're at the place where someone would bring a work shot by someone in one fancy country and then bring another work shot by someone in Nigeria. And you can tell, like, this came from Nigeria because the work is beautiful. Yes, it's amazing. What we don't have is the person who built it somewhere else or took the picture somewhere else probably knows the engineers behind the technology, right? Can I give an example quickly?
Yes.
One of the best filmmakers, as far as I'm concerned, is James Cameron, right? Not because he makes movies, but because James Cameron has pushed technology. How many of us know that? You also have Avatar, right? The blue one, not the last Airbender. How many of us? Why is everybody? Did you see Avatar?
Yeah. Yes.
Right, you saw Avatar, the blue one. You saw how they were riding on those animals and how amazing. It looked real. How many of you watched that movie in 3D? Did anybody here watch it in 3D? It was crazy. Yeah. It was Should I filmmaker is the reason that technology exists? It didn't exist. The technology used in shooting Avatar did not exist before James. James felt like, you know what, let's do this. He did the same.
School to read and write, right? And then when we get to university, we've got to specialize in something. So either law, accountancy, all of that. These technologies have always been there. Now they're being specialized for something else. And that's where we come in, right? And so, for example, even something as simple as lighting a black woman in the US is still very huge. Insecure did big things, which was a show with a lot of black women, to show like how to light black women. There are people that would rather work with photographers here because they're like, the big ones in the US or the UK don't know how to shoot black people. So the technology hasn't even gotten to us in that sense because the people that are creating those technologies don't look like you and I. And so it's important that we are in those rooms and we are using those technologies and also customizing it to how we can use it. We are the use cases for that. Even like Google Maps, for example, like on our platform, like geolocation. Google Maps doesn't really work here. We use the map to make it feasible for the Nigerian country. So having a hand in technology, I think is beautiful for us because they are not thinking about us. So we've got to kind of take those reins and specialize those models to work for us.
Amazing, thank you. Malik, yes, please clap for them. The thing are the best people to make the thing. My own personal experience of events, we do event issues with some things that were happening, and that's why we said, let's create this to make better events. And that's the same thing that should happen in this industry. Malik, you haven't, I don't know if you've created yet, but you really have used the life out of AI. Tell us how the Elder series happened. We all know how you, and how it has helped your business.
Okay, thank you. The funny thing is, the last question you asked is kind of similar to what inspired it as well. So it came from a personal place. I was dealing with grief. I was trying to, recreate my mother. So the Elder series is about putting the elderly people in places you normally not see them, like a fashion show, been marginalized for a very long time. And the reason why I knew that was because I was trying to recreate my mother in that space. But the problem is the AI neural network is biased against. So like you said, we are not in the forefront of technology. It wasn't made for us or with us in mind. So the kind of images I was getting at first were when I did my research, and it's from the inception of photography. You don't find this online until you do your research. So photography started in 1895 to 1896 in Nigeria, not models. Now the problem about that is the digital space learns from that. Because when we tell stories here, we don't tell it as intentional as we should tell it. Look at Hollywood, for instance. They have every propaganda in films. They have every intention. The problem about that as well is that has trickled down into the AI neural network. When you type in a boy in Lagos, you're going to see impoverished Lagos, dirty Lagos, even today. So what I did was I trained the neural network for the elderly society to understand that this is what that propelled my career for the past 2 years to place I've never Jordan. I did rebranded the entire Cadbury, many things. I have films, documentaries I've never shown in Cannes where technology is going, whether you like it or not. So why not be at the forefront of it? And why again is because in the next 10 years, decision making will be in the hands of AI. But when you're being profiled and it doesn't understand who you really are, stand a chance. So right now we have to right that wrong by putting out the right narratives and also training this thing to understand that this is not who we are, but this is who we are, basically. Yeah.
Awesome. Please give my panelists a round of applause. They are thinking how does everyone to a certain degree get access to this? I'll start with Scott.
Okay. There's something called the frog. I don't know how many of us know this. The frog. F, friends. R, relative. O, organization. And G, government. That philosophy guides almost anything. Starting a business, building a product, making money, anything. Even endorsing an idea follows the same philosophy. Your friends will tell you, this is so good, let's do it. Your family doesn't really jump in, except some families. Your family will tell you, go read medicine, right? And then your friends hype you and it makes a bit of noise, and your father's friend tells your father, I saw your son on TV. And your father who said you should go and read medicine comes back, that's my boy, Then family comes in, so relatives start to buy in. And then the noise spreads a bit more, right? And if you are African, chances are you are from a large family one way or the other, which is good because they start talking about you, even if they hate you, right? As it grows, organizations start paying attention to you. And once organizations start putting money in you, the government goes, let's back this, industry or this organization or this person. I think it's the same thing for collaboration. It starts with, everybody wants to collaborate with that big name. That man, if I just collaborate with him, my life would change. Think about it, why should he collaborate with you? Right? So how we should collaborate, let's start with our friends. I'm a big believer of building friends with your friends. It's cheaper. It's way cheaper. It's easier because you guys can make mistakes and no one really knows about it. So you can learn, right? And you could just keep going. So collaborate with your friends that share the same vision first. Let them make the noise about it. And I'm saying this because this is my reality, right? In 2015, way back as 2015, 2016, I started working on it. I was bullied in high school a long time ago because When I say high school, that was like, well, I'm not that old, but we're talking about the 90s, yeah? And I was telling my friends, because I used to watch C Network, and I would tell them about AIs, and I remember somebody beat me and threw me in the roof that I'm either possessed or something was wrong with me. Because I was telling them about the future and how things were going to go crazy, because I was seeing it on C Network. They were not watching C Network. It didn't make sense to them, right? But over time, I started meeting people like me who were just crazy. And then in 2015, we started building AI. Did it make sense? No. Did I lose money? Definitely. Did it almost destroy me? Of course. Of course. But here's the good part. It's 2015 till now is 9 years. 9 years. Yeah. Right? Now I can stand and say, oh, I'm one of the big players in AI. Because I started with my goal and we made mistakes. Those mistakes made some noise that people saw and felt like, if he's been doing this long enough, it sense. In fact, one of the first interviews I took with an AI company in the US, they asked me what I was bringing to the table. You won't believe what I said to them. I said, well, I know how to fail. I know what we will do and we will lose money. So if you can hire other people that will make you money, I would hire me because I'll tell you how we will lose money. And they laughed about it, and that's why they hired me. Because we...
Who wants to go next?
Yeah, I was going to say the exact. I think sometimes we think we have to get the big player like you.
Actually, very. So what I would say is, I know one thing for sure, in the fintech space, one of the major focus for them is customer satisfaction, customer experience, customer ease. So you find that most platforms in the fintech space, they actually do almost the same thing, but the experience is not particularly, the same. So I would say for my space, the business space, I really love to do stuff where we can collaborate to create platforms that can really help my space, especially photographers. When I started my academy is not even up to a year, and we already have 15,000, not followers, community members. So
Please give me a round of applause. That's amazing.
Out there, to be honest, I didn't know. So, and I believe in coming years, our community will grow so much. So imagine having platforms that particularly serve these communities when it comes to the customer experience for their customers, when it comes to the type of products, that's the photographs they release to their, to their customers. So I believe it will go a long way if we can also look at the photography space, not just for the customer, even also for the photographers themselves.
Yeah. Thank you. Ijama.
So when it comes to, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, awesome. So when it comes to collaboration, like what Sam said, she mentioned how you have to collaborate horizontally. Yeah. And as a photographer, I understand that some of our fears are, oh, someone is going to steal my idea and just pop it out on the internet and it's going to blow up and I'm just here. So that's where Scott spoke about, you need to have like the right set of, when I share ideas with my friends, I understand, I have built my friendship in such a way that there are levels to it. So there are some people that I can't necessarily share a particular thing, but there are other people that I can share something very broadly. So as a creative photographer, when I want to collaborate, I don't just go for the big guns. I go for majorly friends, especially because we can fail together, we can build together, and this helps with now going for the big guns, right? A lot of photographers come to ask me, oh, how was I able to collaborate with a lot of tech companies? And that's because they've seen work done over the years, with the little things, with the small things. So what our advice with collaboration is, I know that everybody just wants to collaborate with the 1 million followers guys, with the big people, but...
Yes, I did. My first company actually was a clothing line. When I was in the UK, I'm very hard to please. So if I could please myself, I'll take it to that person that I know would not like it. And if that person likes it, I'm like, okay, fine, this is good. Because being unique is something and being generic is another thing. And in a world like this, you can only be, can only go further when you're unique, or else you just be in the same place. So I want to always be unique, and I always want to take correction. I take corrections from everybody. If you're wrong or you're right, I have nothing to lose. It's if I take it, if I understand it, if I use it, that really matters. So for me, I like to take in any information I could get. So with friends and non-friends, all together, all I'm gathering is information. And if it helps me or not is if I use it. Yeah.
Thank you. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh, I can't speak to my friend, choose another circle. You need to be intentional about people that you discuss work with and business with. Because if you're just thinking, oh my God, no, I don't go the friend route, then there's actually a problem. I need to solve it. Are there any questions before we continue? No question is stupid. Okay, I see your hand. Who can help us with the questions, please? Okay, somebody's coming forward. You need a mic. But one thing I've heard everybody say is you need to remain curious. If you are here and you don't randomly just Google stuff, or you're not learning about what's happening in your industry, your business is going to die very, very, very quickly. Another thing you should learn to do is also to speak to people that are much younger than you are. So if you think you are young at 25, then you should be 20-year-olds. That's one thing I've heard here. Okay, please go ahead with your question, please. Giving us mics that are not working.
I hope it's okay for me to sit down.
No, yeah, sit down, it's fine.
One thing that I'm hoping that because of this event, the recording of this, and the reason is because I think that there's a lot that is being said, and for us to really, really use what is being said, it requires us to listen to it over and over again. The reason why I'm talking about hardware as well, and that can be a very, it can easily fly over the head. It will be nice to we can begin to break those features down and be interested in the feature, so you can decide to take the lenses, for instance, and be curious about it enough to then go and check history on how it's been created and how you can improve up. Again, the keyword.
All the contents from the conference will be shared with everyone that's attended, that's for sure. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Malik. I enjoy what you do, a lot of how AI can skyrocket one's career in the blink of an eye. I've been following what you do since January 2023, when you released the prompts in the AI. It brought out everything to actually create those images. So I'm interested in artificial intelligence. So this information that you about that, and is there a particular platform you use? Is it Midjourney? Is it DAO E3?
Is right now, elderly people, you will get something great. But if you have one key point on a teenager, for instance, in Lagos, you're not going to get anything there because nothing has been fed. Doesn't understand. All he sees is the news reports. And it's really crazy. But the moment collectively we start to create intentional content to say this is what Lagos looks like. Forget about every country has a bad side, but they have good PR. That's why we don't see it. And if you don't have good PR in your country is not going to grow. You just keep complaining because it's going to help you if your country has good PR for the rest of the world. Nigeria, if I go abroad sometimes, I don't like sharing my Nigerian passports because of just stereotype. But we're going to get to a space where we will show it and the perception is different, but it starts somewhere. And for us right now in 2024, it's a digital space, whether we like it or not.
Thank you. One last question before all the panelists give a parting word. Wait, let me make sure nobody else has a question first. One last question. Okay, allow him.
Thank you for that. I sincerely appreciate that. Okay, so I know you're a filmmaker and Scott is a product manager. You guys, when you were talking about collaboration, you mentioned a few points concerning, okay, we need to build this, we need to build that and everything. If I may ask, this AI stuff started off from the West. So whatever it is that they feed them is tailored or biased to their side. What are we doing on our own part to actually probably change products? Okay, I have an idea for photographers, filmmakers, and videographers. How do I go about it? I mean, I can't afford and I can see you talk about it. What are we doing exactly to change this narrative? You said it starts, I mean, if we can build our own AI and feed it exactly what we want it to be so that everyone, I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
I do, and I'll use my experience to answer your question. So before I started working with Photoshop, before I could even afford Photoshop, I was very good with something called paint.net that comes with your computer. That was the only thing that was available to me at that time, but because of that, I made sure I understood how to use it. So when it came to Photoshop, was almost very...
You asked how we can start building ours, right? Let's define it quickly. Artificial intelligence is simply just made up intelligence, right? Right? Your intelligence based on how much information you have, yes? And how well you can process the information and utilize it, yes? It's the same thing with AI. The smartest AIs are the ones that have learned more, right? With open source, what they've done is they've set up the model for you to train, right? Which is what he did. What I would say is you can either get someone who understands machine learning to help write the program to train, or you take advantage of the free ones and you train. If there are 50 photographers here and each of you have maybe 100 pictures each of actual black people, do you know we can all sit, like, we talk about these things like it's very far. Let's bring it to where we are. Take all of those pictures together, find one of those open source AI, and then create a single repo, right? Like a single, I would say, source of truth repository. I'm trying to think of a lame way to say, a file, a folder, right? And we take all of our pictures, we tag it properly, because these things are learning based on the information. He said garbage in, garbage out. Is what you call it, that it will feed. Have you ever gone on Unsplash to type black, black African dancer, and then they give you somebody dancing, those village people dancing with sticks, yes. And you get very upset because you need a picture for something, right? That's because that was what that was tagged. If we start taking amazing pictures like we are here, young people in their 20s, and there's a picture like, and we tag them correctly, we send it into those open source models, yeah? That's training. If we have a lot of those things properly tagged, you are not just writing photo 110, photo 112, because that's what we put up when we put our pictures online, right? You tag them properly. The machine will collect all of that information, save it. The next time you need something, whether you did it intentionally or not, that machine has been trained to identify black teenager because there were 1,000 entries with specific type of pictures that said black teenager. Do you get what I'm saying? We can start from there. And if we say, okay, we're all using this open, it makes it easy. We take that one, we start using it. It's so trained, it's so black, it's so, I'm saying black, it's so African, it understands everything. It's not because we necessarily built it, but we are the coaches, we are the mentors. It would act like us. The AI would always act like the person that taught it, right? And if we teach one, that's our own. So even when I say build it, sometimes it's not like create the ML yourself. Train one.
I want to add to that. Okay. First of all, thank you. Not to put my platform there, but that's what we do. So every photo that is on our platform, we use computer vision and we automatically tag those photos. And so we can actually tell the person's skin tone if they had rings on their fingers and all of that, because that data is what we're going to use to build language models. And talking about what you said about that archive content, there isn't enough of that content out there. And so we're actually working with different states, a couple of states in Nigeria, to basically archive digitally landmarks, people dancing, people, in markets, different things. Because like you said, if I type in an African woman, it's going to be a woman with her boobs out in the market, right? And that's not the African woman here. Where's that woman here? And so being able to work with agencies, people that are already doing what, like your company that already has all these photos and bringing them to the platform, and then we use computer vision to automatically tag it, because that's the boring task. Like you have 1,000 videos, tagging all of them is crazy. But being able to use tech to do that is what we decided to put in our platform to make it easier. So yeah, having that data is very powerful into building those language models. Because if we don't have that exact thing tagged, we're represented in the worst way.
Thank you. Asabe, please, what's your, how do people interact with your product?
Yeah, so just go to viewdigital.com. So we've opened it to a cohort of people right now to test out the platform. And so once you go to viewdigital.com, you'll be
viewdigital.
VIOU-digital.com.
VIOU-digital.com.
And then sign up there, and then we'll pull you into testing out the platform, and you can see how the sausage is being made.
Yeah, let's do that. Any last words? What the future for? The future, the exciting future. Last word, Shay and Ijoma.
Okay. So for me, I'm a businessman. I just want my customers to be happy. I want so any kind of platform or system that can help me serve my customers better. When I say customers, form of product or system that can help me improve their experience is all I root for. So I believe if we can collaborate, talk much better on things we can do to improve the experience of my customers and of course the industry, I'm up for it.
Thank you, Ijoma. Collaboration from this stage must happen. Ijoma.
Okay. Master how to automate. I'm always surprised when photographers do not have websites. Is that little that they don't have website? They respond to every single Instagram DM one by one, right? So you need to start thinking of that's already a problem. You need to identify that as a problem, and then you also need to start preferring solutions. So, like Sheyi mentioned, we want to have things done faster and also done excellently well. So you need that's where problems that can be solved. That's when you can now even start thinking of researching about them or knowing how to find solutions for them. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Scott, last words.
All right. And because that's what determines any business success. If, like what we have over there, right? We took those moments, those simple pictures, and then we made some videos of the fun of it, and we framed some, right? Imagine that as photographers, you capture the moment, the father laughing.
Places that haven't been discovered, and you are the cultural custodian to tell that story. So yes, tech can do so much and enhance creativity, but before that comes in, before you bake that pie, you need the ingredients, and that's who you are. So it could be scary, but remember, without all of that, you have to be at the center of that conversation. So don't be scared about tech, actually use it to enhance versus like replace you.
Thank you. Malik.
Yes, I second that. AI is not here to take your job. It's not even possible. Don't be scared of it. So I'd beg you to do your research, experiment, and please tell intentional stories because the next generation, deserves it. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So remember,
you very much.
Tell intentional stories. Yeah. You're the custodian. Remember, this is the culture exchange. You're the custodian of us. Tell these stories. Let us represent ourselves the way we want to be represented and remain curious. I find that people just get lazy, make money, and that's it. I like the way he keeps on talking about using technology for improving the customer experience and for making business easier. Remain curious. It's not always about money. Just click, keep researching. Talk to them. They are here at least 10 minutes after this panel. They didn't tell me, but I'm telling them now. Engage with them. No question is too small, even if you do want to ask it here. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Amazing panel.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Malik. Thank you, Oluseyi, Ijoma, Asabe, and also humble moderator, Toby. Please, let's come together for a group photo. I know everybody is, thank you for staying this long. I mean, you stayed hours, you've engaged with everybody, you've listened. Please give yourselves a round of applause. And please, let's give a special round of applause to BOP. Yes, Mr. Kola, please. Mr. Kola would like to take a picture with you. Thank you. Please wait. Mr. Kola wants to take a picture. Afterwards, you can please leave the stage from the left. While they are taking pictures, please remember that in Phoenix, they have an experiential area at the back, so you can please go there. And I hear that there are prizes to be won. A birdie told me that, so who knows? You might actually get to win some amazing prizes. So please engage behind. Also, in the light of in Phoenix, in quote, we're going to have a video up now for our sponsor spotlight. Graphics team. Okay, yes. Please watch and enjoy.
This is my time. I'm on the rise. Can't hold me down, I'm too fly. This is my time. Seconds away and the game's on the line. There ain't no doubt in my mind. Beating the buzzer like. This is my time.
Are we replaying the video? Or are we good? Okay. Are we good, or the video is going to play again? We're good? 1 minute? Okay, okay.